fuck out of my store right now!
Cool. So, all right.
All right, let's give him something to talk about, you know?
Let's give him something to talk about. Welcome back to another episode of The Brothers in Arms Podcast. That's the best it's ever been.
That was
Right
fucking
there.
perfect.
That was really good.
You know what
Thank
sucks
Did you guys
is...
practice that?
Yeah, we hug.
A lot.
Yeah, we hug a lot, and then we do that.
I wake up every morning. The first thing I do is call Bobby, and I say that. And if he doesn't say it, then I come over and slap him around.
The thing is I only have like till he gets to my voicemail to literally run to his house and like bang on the door. Otherwise, he gets super fucking pissed with me.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't like these. I don't like the whole like mask situations.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I know. I'm just freaking out. I'm a little. I'm an anti-masker. I feel like it's just bullshit. COVID-19 is not fucking real. This is ridiculous. No, I'm like a real fucking psycho when it comes to COVID-19 and
Truth.
Josh
That's
is
the
weaning me to the other side.
What have I done?
Look how you wear that mask. Very loose. I don't know if you noticed that, Tom.
It's right
very
here.
loose.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There you go. I feel so much better.
I
have a
got
condition.
stopped at in like a Target parking lot by this like crazy lady asking for money, and she was talking so fast and so wildly that she was eating her own mask as she was talking.
Wow.
It was the most insane thing I've ever seen.
Oh, a
She
mask
looked like-
eater, yeah.
She looked like a fucking cookie monster. Like, like it was so nuts as she was talking, and I didn't understand a single word that she said because I was more focused on her eating the fucking
Dude,
mask.
I don't know if it's just you guys, but I was never keen on having homeless people or people coming up to my car in the first place. But now that there's a pandemic, it scares me so. It's almost zombie apocalypse style, where I'm just like, oh shit! Like I can't roll up the windows fast enough. Like, I'm like, you're not wearing a mask. You're supposed to wear a mask.
Your car won't start. You got to get out and push. It's like 28 weeks later. You know, they firebomb you. Cat drives off with Heidi. Cool. So we are here this week with our guest, Tom Reinert.
Tom Reinert.
Super excited to be doing this tonight, to have you here. So
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yeah. Thanks for
I'm happy
being
to be
here.
So I think what we want to jump right into is, I was telling Josh, a real special moment with us, you and I, is your wedding.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we had a really fun time.
I think I had a fun time.
Leading up to, right? Yeah.
All I know is I'm pretty sure 90% of your friend group don't like me after that. No,
Oh no.
I just remember
This is my bachelor party.
the bachelor party. Yeah,
There it is.
And that was fun.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. Your
Dude,
brother was
I
awesome.
blacked out,
Yeah.
and I am so happy about it.
Yeah, I remember looking over at you. You're on the table, just spewing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah,
I was
I
telling
wouldn't have
Bobby
it any other way.
he played that role like you do that so perfectly. Like you're the guy that comes in and like shakes things up and
Dude,
you know, oh, here's the plan.
Kiki
No.
Bear
That's
and
not
I
the
were
plan.
there.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. Let's go drink.
A hard drink tonight, boys.
And then we met up with your brother. Your brother was there.
Yeah.
And then I hopped behind the bar. And I
Yeah,
was pouring drinks. And then Keegan and I don't know how, but we were the ones that decided to drive you home.
yeah.
And your entire family was in your house.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It was great.
hey, I'm going to carry you inside. And I'm pretty sure I cussed the whole way through.
Yeah.
And
I guess, like from what I heard, I was like 100% like a dead body.
yeah.
But my mind was 100% there.
Okay. So kind of like sleep paralysis.
Yeah, like I was like hanging out the window, puking, and then I would shout like, "Turn right here,"
I just picture you like
and
the
then I was
Joker.
like, 2 more blocks, and then you take another right.
Blackout GPS from the back
Yeah.
seat.
The thing is, I was in the back, so all the puke was just like,
Yeah, I was literally a TomTom. Remember those? That was like the old GPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Man,
I
I've
totally
heard that
forgot
a
about
lot.
that
Yeah,
shit.
same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
That was like the whole device. That was the brand name, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
That was the whole thing. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a crazy night. I think, wasn't your wedding the last time we hung out?
No.
I mean, the haunted houses and shit, I think at Parkway.
Yeah,
but-
I think we hung up later.
Yeah. Well, maybe a couple trivia. I think you might have come to a couple trivias or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the last like drinking time that we had. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I fell down your stairs walking out of your house all the way down to the sidewalk. And then I cried at my house that night talking about your brother. I was like, your brother was so cool and I fucked it all up.
That's what I saw when he got home from it. So embarrassed. He loved your brother. Something that, yeah.
I was like, Tom made it home safe and his brother hates me. And I don't even remember any of that shit.
Hot mess. But, that's
That was cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. I think it was good to rehash that and get past that, you know?
Yeah.
So if any of your family members are watching, I hope they forgive me for anything
yeah.
from that night. So
They don't remember you.
okay, good. Perfect. Because I was like,
Excellent.
I was very worried because at the wedding, like, Kat and I were like
no one-
outcasts. We were just
No
like,
one gave a shit.
okay, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You were the only ones that were worried about it.
You
my
put
God,
that
we're-
on yourself.
We were so like,
Yeah.
fuck, man, I fucked all this up. Like,
Yeah.
I felt really bad. Good. Well, that feels good then.
The
All
wedding
right.
still went through. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe I pissed in all those beers though. Like I felt bad.
Shit.
I was like, you fuckers hate me.
That's like that's the craziest thing when you have when you have a wedding.
Yeah.
Like you could drink an amazing amount of
Oh, yeah.
beer and booze and you will never get drunk.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. It's like
You're
you know
so
how, like-
nervous and like,
Yeah, you know how like mothers, like when their child
Yep.
is trapped underneath like a piano or something like that, or a car,
it happens all the time.
and they're like,
Classic.
"My baby," and they like lift that shit up. Like that's how I felt drinking beer. I was like, yeah, and it like
Hell
did
yeah.
not faze me whatsoever. And I was just like, I'm pumped. And like at the end of the night, I was like, I'm not drunk at all.
Oh, really?
It was insane.
Well, that's
It's
awesome.
such a whirlwind of a day. Your wedding,
Dude,
day,
yeah.
man. It's-
I remember, when we got married down in New Orleans, you and me.
Yep.
It was fucking crazy. That was crazy.
That's the only place that
Yeah.
brothers can get married.
Yeah, it felt good.
the time.
It felt good. We never got pregnant.
Oh,
you know,
shit.
like we
Yeah.
tried for a really long time.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both ways. We tried it all.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. Well, I don't know you very well, Tom. We've met a few times.
Yeah.
What I do know is we are friends on Facebook, and I always find it very interesting that you've got your the listening sessions with albums with your son,
Oh,
Miles,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is it mornings with Miles or?
Yeah, it's morning music with Miles.
There we go, man.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
super duper cool. Every
Yeah.
time I see that, I'm like,
Yeah.
that guy is on point with his parenting.
I
right there.
resent my
Very
daughter because she's about the same age. I resent my daughter every time I see her. I'm like, why don't you come up with something fucking cool like that? You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, Miles is
Yeah,
listening
Miles
to
is
Ozzy
doing cool shit with his
Osbourne.
dad,
Come
you know?
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I just pick whatever I feel like listening to.
Yeah.
And then I force him to listen to it. And
That's
and he could give a rat's ass,
Yeah.
but it's great because he just absorbs it into his brain.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Hopefully later he becomes a cool dude.
yeah. You're definitely
He will.
shaping that right now.
Yeah.
That's huge. So, or he'll just resent the hell out of you. You
I was
know?
gonna say,
Either way.
all the music and then the methamphetamines, he'll turn out to be a fucking cool kid.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, let's get right into the fucking top 5.
I want to rip the top 5.
I want to get into it. I am so
Cool.
excited, man. I've been fucking thinking about this all week. And
I
it's-
definitely had fun coming up with this list right here. It's weird. It was a little slow. There was like one I wanted right away, and I was like, oh yeah, that's in.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about it, and then as soon as I got like one or two more, it was like, oh, and that one, and that one, and that one, and I
Yeah.
just like, how focused did I want to make this
It's
list?
hard.
Yeah.
Man. I thought of so many.
Right.
Well, the hard part is you come up with your list and then you're like, oh, I forgot this one. And then you're like, oh, and then this other. And like you said, it's like a fucking waterfall effect.
Yeah.
It just,
Just don't go chasing them, though.
no. Stupid. Don't go chasing water.
Because of that, though, I do have a couple of honorable mentions
Yeah.
because of that.
I got 3 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
3 of them. Okay.
I actually have honorable mentions too.
All right.
This is great. So let's rip into some of these honorable mentions. Tom, would you just do us the honor of starting the honorable mentions? Let us know something that's on that list of yours.
Sure. Do we
do all your honorable mentions
So
and then
what,
we'll do
like-
them all.
Cool. I like that.
so the top 5 this week is
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
didn't even say what it is.
So yeah, the top 5 are your favorite death scenes.
Yeah.
So originally mine, in my head it was the goriest, and then I was like, oh shit, that's not that's not what it is. It's your most favorite. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let her rip, man. What do you got?
So for my honorable mention would be the basketball to the face scene in Deadly Friend. It's like a Wes Craven film from the 80s starring Christy Swanson.
okay.
And she's this girl who gets turned into a robot who goes like crazy and starts killing people.
Okay.
And the old lady from Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she plays this like crotchety old neighbor, and she's like yelling at her, and like she picks up a basketball and throws it at her head, and her head explodes.
Hell
It's
yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Like sweet 80s practical effects.
Yeah,
just,
dude. It's
Like a watermelon, literally.
Yep.
Dude, you know what's crazy? That old lady, I feel like she was born that way.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen her, she's
I tried
always
to
been weird
Google,
old.
like young
Yeah.
Goonies old lady.
I was gonna say, she doesn't have a
I don't know
name.
what her name is
Yeah,
off the top of my head, but I like looked up her name
So,
and I
like-
tried to Google like young, because sometimes you could find pictures.
Yeah.
You know, nothing.
Nothing.
I think she was just born.
She's like a
old.
pug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just super wrinkly, and she smokes cigarettes.
There's a
since the womb.
picture of her on the Titanic, and she looks the exact same.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, what else you got? That's a good one.
I haven't seen that. I got to check that out.
I've never seen.
Yeah,
I
haven't
feel
seen
like
that.
a lot of your movies are going to be like super kind of obscure. Is that
No.
no? Okay.
No. I made a list. Let me pull up my list.
Oh, this is so fucking unprofessional. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh shit. So like there's a movie called Let Sleeping Corpses Lie.
Okay.
And it's
I've seen this porn.
It's it's also called The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue.
So why does it have two names?
It's an Italian movie, so
Yep.
Sure.
Gotcha.
they renamed it.
Yep.
It's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And it's really slow and scary. I think it's one of the scarier zombie movies.
You know what
But there's
year, roughly?
Oh, mid to late 70s.
Cool.
Yep, perfect timing for that.
Yeah. And there's a part where this zombie breaks into a hospital, and there's a nurse like, I don't know, typing or something like that, and he walks up right behind her and like rips her shirt, and her boobs fall out.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And then the zombie grabs her tit and just rips it off.
Oh
like
my
just
God.
rips her boob right off.
Wow.
And she dies. And it is disgusting.
That's a
and
horrible
gross.
death.
And it's like,
That is a horrible
I'm like,
death.
oh, I'm excited. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
The
It's-
scariest
Wow.
boner you
It's a
ever
Fear
had.
boner. Yeah.
And
What
then-
is what was the zombie movie where do you have any more zombie movies on your list? Because I don't want to wreck this if it is.
Yeah, I have zombie movies.
Okay, then I'll wait till the end to talk about this one.
Okay.
Remind me.
Cool. Fair.
All right, yeah.
Fair.
And then, yeah, that's all.
That's
Cool.
your two honorable mentions? Okay.
Two fantastic honorable mentions. You may take this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
go for it.
yeah, go ahead, guy.
For sure.
So my first honorable mention, in the sentiment of watching, this is a horror film.
Yeah.
It's coming from Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In the sentiment of like one of the victims kind of having the upper hand for a moment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's whenever it's like the dude on top of the roof, and he's this black guy, and he's like boxing the hell out of Jason.
Yep.
And I mean, he lights him up for like a minute, you know?
Yeah.
And he's wearing himself out so much from just laying into him. His knuckles are all bloody, and he finally kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, he comes out and he stands back up, and Jason just one hit decapitates this guy. It rolls off the building into a trash can and shuts, and he just casually walks away.
Another fear boner of mine. Yeah.
Right there, decapitated heads just really do it for Bobby. So, the second one,
That's a real classic.
it's
That's
classic.
a good one.
Yeah, that one always stood out to me. Is from a more recent film, The Green Inferno.
Oh yeah.
And have you seen that one, Tom?
No, I'm not.
Oh, it's
Oh,
Eli
really?
Roth's
Yeah.
homage to the cannibal Holocaust.
Sure.
And there's a scene where they, this cannibal tribe has this guy laid out on this rock, and it's basically going to be the first group of this people they're about to eat. And they,
That shit, yeah.
the witch doctor woman peels his eyes out, cuts his tongue off, and they quarter him essentially, or they cut him limb from, and he's alive basically for the whole thing. And it is ultra graphic.
It's like what Mel Gibson wanted to happen to him in Braveheart. But they just couldn't get away with it in Braveheart.
It is one of the most graphic scenes. So just for the gore and special effects from that alone, that made it into the
Eli Roth's movies are so goofy and gory that you're just so confused. You're like, is this fucking funny? Is this jokey?
I saw
it's great.
Cabin Fever by myself in the theater.
Great movie. You love that
like,
movie.
I do too. Yeah,
it was the most terrifying experience because the person behind me, there was like 5 people in the theater, and of course one person sits exactly behind me, and that one person happens to be sick at the time.
Oh, COVID.
So like I'm fucking watching this movie about teens getting sick and like falling apart and melting and shit, and like they're like right behind me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a scary.
They knew what they were doing.
Real.
Yeah, that was a plant. He was just
It
paid
was like
for
it was fucking Eli Roth behind me.
Cool. So those are my 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
Yeah. What you got, man?
Those are good. I have 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna go through them pretty quick. We got There Will Be Blood.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my honorable mentions.
Sure.
I just at the end when he kills
with the pin.
Eli, with the bowling pin, it was just so fucking brutal. You know,
Extremely
he's at his
brutal.
wit's end. He's an alcoholic, lost all his shit. I just love that. Second one, Private Pile from Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to fit that in my top 5 and I just couldn't. So I was like, I gotta have it in my honorable mentions. That when he fucking just like boom, and at that point he's like the super soldier, you know, like transform butterfly, you know what I mean? Like it was so good. And then my last one would be Night of the Living Dead. So when the black guy gets shot at the end, he survives the night, survives all the zombies, and then pops up and he's like, wait, poof, and gets fucking by white guys. That's so gets fucking killed. You know? Those are my 3.
Strong. Strong.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I'm excited for what the top 5s are going to be here.
yeah, I agree.
Good, so
Let's go to break and then reset the cameras and we'll come right back.
come right back. Cool.
It's like, wait, I think I saw you outside in that parking lot at Target eating your
Dude, she was just like, and it was just going into her mouth. And like she had this like super red lipstick and a white mask. So it was just looking like a fucking bloody mess. It was so disgusting. And she was just like, I need $5. And I was like, I don't know what you're saying.
Here's all my cookies.
Yeah, right. I was in the middle of like doing like a back of the parking lot
hand job
deal. BJ. Let him out.
Get out of here.
No, I was like selling a video game.
Oh, okay.
To a dude, and for like a lot of money, and this lady, like 2 people came up, and we were both like,
"Get the fuck out of here!"
It's like $400.
Oh no shit! What game?
This game called Go Go Hyper Grind for GameCube.
It went for $400.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
Never
shit!
heard of that.
Yeah.
It's like a really rare game.
Rollerblading one or what?
So it's like rollerblading. It's like Tony Hawk, but with cartoon characters designed by the dude who designed all the Ren and Stimpy.
No shit.
Wow.
I just saw the documentary. I haven't seen the documentary, but there's that documentary off on.
Was a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks really
Apparently
cool.
that dude's like
A fucking asshole.
gross.
Yeah. Like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the documentary.
I love pieces of shit.
So, and we're back with our top 5 death scenes. We went through our honorable mentions, and now we're gonna do the regular top 5.
Yeah.
I always get confused on top 5s,
Yeah.
so we're gonna start at 5 and
We'll
go
start
to
at
1.
5. Yeah. It's a countdown. It's a countdown. So let's go back to Tom on this one.
Okay. Yeah. So like I gave this a lot of thought, and like I was like, do I throw it? Like, do I just do like gory ones or like meaningful ones? And I really thought about like ones that like had impacts on my life.
Fantastic.
And they just
Yep.
happen to like be very gory too.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
So my number 5 would be there's a Japanese movie called Meatball Machine.
Okay.
Meatball Machine. And it's like this dude. There's like these like aliens that take over people's bodies and turn them into like weird cybernetic monsters. And this guy gets turned into this monster, but he's like still has his like brain intact, and he still can like think, where everybody else turns into like mindless monsters.
Yeah.
Meatball machines.
Yeah.
And this like, it's like halfway through the movie, and he's all super sad, and he's hiding in the corner of this street, and this like little tiny girl walks up and is like, "Are you okay, mister?" And it's like really sweet. She's like really sweet. And he's like, "No, leave me alone. I'm a monster." She's like, "Oh, mister, like, let me help you." And he picks up a rock and he throws it at her, like, "Get away from me." But because he's like a machine, he throws it at such a speed that it just shoots right through her and kills her.
Oh.
And when I saw that in like whenever it came, like early 2000s,
Yeah.
I thought that was like the fucking greatest thing in the world. Like that like stuck with me. I was like, holy shit, they killed a kid. And it's like I laughed so hard because it was just like a fucking, he just threw a rock and the rock like destroyed this. And I don't know. It's like always stuck with me, that image of him being like, "Get the fuck away," and it just,
I don't want to hurt you.
yeah, he's like, "I don't want to hurt you," and he just kills his kid with a stupid rock. Like,
Jesus Christ.
And the movie is ultra gory. So that was like at a time when Japan was putting out these ultra gory horror films. So there was Meatball Machine.
Was it well done gore though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, but it was like monster,
Yeah.
like cut in half, but like insane gore. So there's Tokyo Gore Police, Robo Geisha. And,
Is this the style that like when their
Machine
head
Girl.
gets cut off, blood like squirts kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Like a Kill Bill
yeah.
kind of
Like,
stuff. So.
like a dude put another guy's hand in like tempura mix and then deep fried it and then bit his arm off. Like it's like weird. It's
all
gross.
right.
But like that scene, that stupid rock hitting that kid,
Yeah.
I'll never forget like watching that for the
Get
first
that
time.
robot a MLB contract.
Yeah. You know, it's
I
funny.
know.
Haters.
I have to find a picture of that to put in our podcast. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
gonna try and find it on Amazon and watch it.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, do it.
All right, Josh, what's yours?
All right, so number 5 for me, a little flick from the early 2000s, also called Dog Soldiers.
Oh,
You guys ever seen that one?
Yeah.
Towards the end of that, one of the soldiers, I think the guy's named Spoon. He's kind of cornered in this little cottage, and he's out of bullets, and he just kind of in the same sentiment I was talking about with the victim having the upper hand for
Yeah.
a moment.
Yeah.
And he goes toe to toe with this werewolf, and he's stabbing him and just throwing pots and pans at him, and giving him uppercuts and combos, and he's working this thing. But eventually, another werewolf comes in and stops it. And right before he meets his end, he's looking this werewolf just right in the face, and he says, "I hope I give you the shits." And spits on him, which I'm just like, that dude's badass.
Yeah.
Like enormous balls
Yeah.
right there. And they just rip him to shreds. But just the way he went out right
Yeah.
there, I was like, as I go out fighting some
Yeah.
werewolves, I'd like to think. Probably not.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd cry a lot.
Yeah, I'd cry a whole lot. But I thought that was super cool. So
Yeah.
that's my numero 5.
That's good. None of mine are like, I guess I got one that's like a cool, like, fuck you while I die.
Right.
I never even thought about putting that, like, as that would be probably the best death scenes. You know what I mean? Like having like the fuck you before I go.
I like being all over the place. We're
Yeah.
good here. Yeah.
All right. My number 5 is Saving Private Ryan.
Oh.
Can you guys guess which one?
Tom Hanks?
Nope.
No, it's Vin Diesel.
Nope.
I was going to say whoever gets sniped and then he's
Oh,
bleeding out. No, who?
The stabbing scene.
Oh.
When he gets stabbed by the SS officer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Slow. That was
that the-
so fucking
was that
torturous.
The Jewish
Yep.
officer?
Yep.
Yep. And that was, I watched that when I was fucking so young. You know what I mean? When it first came out, and it was like I wasn't really big into World War II. I didn't really fucking obviously everybody knew what Nazis were and shit, but like I didn't really know. And watching that was like holy fucking shit.
That was
you know?
real.
It was
That's what
hardcore.
Melee was. That was
The,
hand-to-hand combat.
the
right there, the
Normandy
worst.
beach scene at the beginning, man, was like insanely intense.
They used like real amputees and like
Yeah.
fucking it was just insane. And then I grew to like playing bolt action and like I went to Germany and like
Yeah.
went to a concentration camp and like really dove into Nazism and just like the whole fucking horrible aspect of it, and then rewatched that, and it really fucking, I don't know, it just put a huge twist on it. And rewatching that part was just like, fuck the Nazis,
Yeah.
like they just fucking they had to get that one more,
Yeah.
that one more at the end. And it's
Yep.
like, even at least Tom Hanks went out in like a cool, like, and blows, the tank blows up. He thinks he did it. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But like that guy died because his fucking bitch ass buddy didn't come up the stairs fast enough to back him up.
Yeah.
It would just forever always be that one where you're like, oh,
That's a good
fuck,
one.
just get through it,
Yeah.
So,
Fuck Nazis.
There you go.
fuck Nazis.
Fuck them forever.
Not just for a little
Just
bit,
not-
like
not
forever.
not like a little bit. Like we could get over it. We're never gonna get over it. Fuck
Not, yeah.
Fuck them all.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, there goes half our audience.
What is this brothers and arms stuff here?
All right, cool. What's your number 4, Tom?
Okay, so in high school, my parents went to. I'm gonna give you like a little story for
Yeah.
each one.
Let's
if
hear
that's
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely.
In high school, my parents went on a trip to Las Vegas, and they left me alone at home. But they didn't want me to be like completely alone, so they had my aunt come over. And my aunt Kathy, she loves horror movies, and I was like, "Can we go to Best Buy?" And that was at the time when like Best Buy had like a shit ton of movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, they had a huge horror movie section.
Yeah.
So I pick up this movie, and it's got this rotting corpse on the front of the cover, and I was like, holy shit, this looks insane. There's like a worm falling out of the eyeball, and it's like disgusting looking. And I was like, we gotta watch this. So
How old were you?
I was like 16 or 17.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And like I bring it home, and I'm like, Kathy, my aunt Kathy, we gotta watch this movie. Like, let's watch it. So we're watching it, and about halfway through, it's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
And about halfway through, this lady gets trapped in her house, and there's a zombie like trying to get into her house.
Yeah.
And she's like, she puts her back against the door, and this zombie punches through the door and like grabs her by the head. But when he punches through the door, like a giant wood splinter comes
This was
out.
the one I was going to bring up. This is the
Okay,
exact
so-
death scene I was going to bring up, and I'm like, I don't want to just in case.
Yeah, so like
This is another Italian one.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's Lucio Fulci.
Yep.
And a big splinter comes out, and it's like a 5-minute scene of the zombie like slowly bringing the lady's head towards this splinter, and
It's like
she's
an
just
8-inch splinter.
it's huge. it's the longest splinter.
So long.
Like, what did he break half the door? Like, it's ginormous. And so he's like bringing her, and she's like, ah! And it's just 5 minutes of her just screaming horrible bloody murder. And it like gets closer and closer to her eye. And you're like, they're not going to do, they'll cut away. They'll cut away. No, it cuts to this like fake eye, obviously, but it goes right, it pierces into her eyeball, and like they pitch up her scream. So it's like, "Ah!" It's like this like cat.
It's brutal.
It's brutal. And it keeps pulling, and it keeps going into her eyeball, and then it snaps.
Yeah.
And like the splinter is like in her eye, and then it cuts away, and it's like, oh yeah, she's dead.
Dude,
It's
it's a special effect where it's not like they removed her head and put that in there. It's her head, and it's like the eyes here, and they fucking do it. Like, it's insane.
It's
dude.
incredible. And then I watched it with my aunt, who is a little elderly, but she was like, that was disgusting. And I was like, we got to watch it again. And I rewound that shit. Again. And we watched it 2 more times, just that scene.
Wow.
And she was like, I can't tell your parents about this. This is horrible.
They'll never let me watch you again.
Yeah. That movie was called Zombie.
Yeah.
It's also called, in like Europe, it's called Zombie 2. So like just FYI, I know a lot about movies.
Yeah.
I've seen
Is
your
it like
basement.
a
Yeah.
Troll 2 scenario, like with
Yeah.
the title?
It really is.
Sorta,
It's like
yeah.
Dawn of the Dead or some
So
shit.
like in Europe, Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie, and then they did a spin-off series of zombie movies. So this was the sequel to Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
Wow.
called Zombie 2, and they made Zombie 3, 4, and 5. And 5 had like the birds. It was like zombie birds.
Yeah.
It was really dumb. But then like, they had
Your
the
mom would
normal,
be
the
freaked out
other
by that.
Romero split too. So it's like a weird tree of zombie movies.
That exact scene that you just described, though, Bobby's always trying to recreate that with his wiener and me. And it's just 5 minutes of me screaming. Yeah. And he's like, again, just like you. Let's watch it again. Let's do it again. You know?
Try again.
We can do it this time. I know we can.
We'll get there. Awesome. I got to check that out. Tom, you're like giving me a list of things I need to go see. This
I
is
have
great,
that. I have it too. If you want to borrow it,
Oh, okay.
it's good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. Awesome.
There's a lot of good fun. The zombie coming out of the ground, like that's his face. That's on the cover.
That's the cover.
Yeah.
And there's like a zombie versus shark scene.
Yes.
There's like a fucking.
Is that your tattoo? Or no, you had a painting, right?
No,
or something.
I have it.
No, you do. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
it's based
That's
on
it.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that. We watched that.
Yep.
We watched that. I
Yep.
remember that now.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite zombie movies.
Yeah,
It's
so
so
good.
fucking
I
good.
don't know why I don't remember the eyeball part though. Maybe I walked in later.
It's like in
or
a
something.
cabana. It's like
Yeah.
really.
The Copa Cabana.
All right, what do you got for your number 4?
Mine is super mainstream, but I think
I think you
it's
say
still
Superman. I was like, wow, okay.
I think it's still a good one though. So Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the heart removal
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
He lives for so long after his heart's removed.
He's all shackled up, you know, and
Yeah.
the cult leader or whatever comes and just reaches into his chest, pulls that thing. You even see it like it heals back up.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
chest does. Everyone's chanting and drums and everything, and
Yeah.
as they're, the witch doctor's holding the heart, as they lower the guy down into this fiery abyss, as he catches on fire, the heart catches on fire.
And he's still screaming.
Oh my God. Oh, he's screaming
Yeah.
bloody murder. Yeah, that was
Freaked me out how it was still pumping.
I was probably
Yeah.
like
Pumping.
6
Fucked up.
or 7
Yeah.
when I saw that. And that was
Perfect
very
age.
intense. Perfect age.
Yeah.
Shaped me. So that's my number 4.
Yeah. He's like, Kalima.
Yes.
Kalima.
Yeah.
Shook today.
And then it turns into like
It's
Benny
so
Hill
gross.
when they're running around.
It's so gross because it's like
Yeah.
putty. His like.
They do a
Yes.
really good job with the
Chest is
special
like
effects on
putty.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
special effects
gross.
were awesome.
fucked
There's a
up.
couple of what is it, the end of was it Last Crusade? Whatever, where everybody
Oh,
like
the Nazis. Fuck the
that's-
Nazis,
They all,
bro.
yeah, there we
Nazis.
go.
Burning
but they
again.
all like melt in the
That's
right?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Or Raiders of
Yeah.
the Lost Ark. There we
Yeah,
go.
they see
The
the
tabernacle.
Ark of the
Yep.
covenant, and they're like,
Yep.
Yeah. Look away.
Cool special effects there. All right, what's
Yeah.
your number 4?
My number 4, Pulp Fiction. Can you guess which one?
I don't know, not the overdose scene or
The Marvin scene, where John Travolta's like has his gun in the back and he accidentally
they're
shoots
talking
Marvin in the
in the
head.
car?
That I watched that when I was way too young, and that scene at a young age cracked me up. Like, and it shouldn't have at that point, like because it was like, holy shit.
well, it was done for comedic effect.
It was, yeah,
Right.
but at the same time, like it was so fucking gory. There's like brains in his beard and hair and shit,
Yeah.
or his face and hair. I don't know. It was just really done. It was done really well. And I looked it up a little bit because I was like, God, is that like? I just wanted to kind of find some more trivia onto it, and it actually turned out John Travolta wrote that, like asked for the scene to be changed, and I didn't realize that. I thought it was like Quentin's pretty fucking hardcore with his his scripts. But yeah, he said that John was like saying that it would make him the bad guy if he just shot it because they were going to shoot him in the throat and then shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
And he was like, everybody's going to fucking hate me in the movie. And he was like, yeah, he will. So, yeah, he made him, he was like, yeah, why don't we just accidentally shoot him? And they did. And I think it's one of the best parts in the whole fucking
It
movie.
works so well.
It changed the whole movie because you're like, it's all kind of normal. And they like, they do the killing scene and shit. But like that part right there was just when it goes fucking batshit crazy. So yeah, that's my number 4. What's your number 3, Tom?
Number 3. My number 3 is Silent Hill.
Oh, I know what you're
Cool.
talking about. I
Like,
know exactly.
It's the
This
sickest
scared me
shit.
so bad when I was a kid. I watched it. It scared me so bad.
Dude, Silent Hill. I went and saw that movie, like a sneak preview at Southdale with like.
Oh, you saw it in the theaters?
Yeah, so it was like a Game Informer, like held a sneak preview. Of it,
Okay.
and I went down, and like that scene, like the scene is, they're like the sirens are going off, and they're running into this church, and this crazy lady stops to throw a rock at another crazy lady, and fucking Pyramid Head just like shows up behind her and like grabs her, rips off her clothes so she's naked, and then he grabs her chest and then proceeds to like twist and rip off her skin like it's some sort of sheet on a bed, and like fucking throws it at the main protagonist, like just
doesn't even go after her either.
Doesn't go after.
She's at the door. Everybody's running inside this church.
Running in the church.
She just like fucking throws it at her, and she's just like, "Oh fuck,
dude!" It's like it's the sickest shit.
Yeah.
It's like it like scarred me for
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like it's so disgusting to think like he just like skins her
It was really
in like an
fucked
instant.
up."
It's like taking a fucking sheet off of your bed, and then it's like a wet sheet, and then he throws it. Like, imagine you pissed the bed, and then you grabbed it in the middle, ripped it up, and then threw it at your wife.
In the director's cut,
Clean this.
in the director's cut, I think he J.O.'s into it, gets it all crispy, and then throws it at her. Clean this up. That's how Pyramid Head sounds.
They cut all that shit though.
Like it just like the entire like after that scene, I was like, anything can happen. This movie is like balls to the wall crazy.
That movie was actually pretty good, I thought.
I think it's really good. I
That
think it's
first
really
Silent
underrated.
Hill
People
movie
really
is
poo-pooed it,
fantastic.
but I liked it.
No, I like that one too.
Yeah. All right, Joshy, what's your number 3?
Numero 3 is it wouldn't be a Brothers in Arms podcast if I didn't mention Lord of the Rings. So I'm gonna go with Fellowship of the Ring, Boromir's death. And this is kind of what you were talking about as far as just like impact and like meaning, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time, if not the favorite. And at the end when Boromir's
spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, he's coming off this moment where he's like reached his major character flaw and he's trying to take the ring from Frodo. Frodo escapes, and then all these Uruk-hai show up, and you start hearing the Horn of Gondor blasting, and Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas are trying to find Boromir, and he's protecting Merry and Pippin, and he's just slaying all these Uruk-hai. And Lurtz, who's sort of like the Uruk-hai leader, comes down and just starts lighting them up with arrows. And it's kind of the
He takes like 3 solid arrows.
It takes 3 to put him down.
Yeah.
And he's still fighting. Each one, he just gets back up. And, and finally Aragorn comes down and has his little bout with Lurtz. But in his dying breath,
he decapitates Lurtz, doesn't he? Takes an arm and then whack.
Yeah,
hits his
it's
head.
super sick.
Super badass.
That part's super cool. That's actually what it is. Lurtz is dead. No, it's but and after the 3 arrows and he's having this moment with Aragorn. Boromir finds redemption.
Yeah.
In that. And
Sucks he had to find it in death though.
But it was super impactful.
Yeah,
and it was
for sure.
kind of the breaking up of the Fellowship, and this isn't all fun and games and all that. So that's one of my favorite death scenes.
That's good.
in a movie. So number 3.
All right, my number 3 has to be the Alien Chestburster.
Classic.
It's so classic. It's watching Alien, and it's probably one of the perfect death scenes in probably the perfect horror movie. I mean, it's so well done, and the cast didn't even know that was going to happen. They were like completely unaware that it was going to happen.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Genuine reaction.
Yeah,
from
the woman who
everybody.
screams, whatever her fucking name is, the crazy the lady in there, she like is terrified. Like she thought she knew what the fuck was happening, and blood just like squirts all over her and shit. So good, man. It's so good. It's like having like when The Exorcist, they kept on set. The set was always cold, and like he had a shotgun with blanks in it, the director, and he'd shoot the shotgun every once in a while, just keep everybody on fucking edge all the time. Yeah, it was like crazy shit. And like Ridley Scott did the same thing, Like
that's what I do at my house. Keep the
it
tip
real
down real
cold.
low, just fire a couple rounds.
Oop, that was a live one.
Yeah.
You boys okay?
You all right out there?
Yeah, I just it was just
And
so good.
The special effects are just like to this day.
Yeah.
They hold up.
It looks real.
They changed the
It
game.
looks so good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 3. Let's go to break and then we'll come right back.
All right. Yeah, me.
All right.
So we're on number 2.
2.
Number
yeah.
2. Numero dos.
Tom's twos.
The deuce.
Drop that deuce on us, Tom.
Real hot and steamy like.
My number 2 is, and like I realize I'm saying like a lot of zombie movies.
Yeah.
Number 2 is also a zombie movie, but like when I got into like horror movies, it was I was a teenager. I had just started high school, and like IFC had like a horror like October.
Yeah.
And I saw Dawn of the Dead and Dead Alive and like
Dead
a
Alive,
bunch of other zombie movies because that's what they were showing, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
But number 2 is Day of the Dead.
Okay.
And the death of Captain Rhodes.
The Romero one, yeah.
Yeah. So the death of Captain Rhodes. So it's towards the end, and like he's this bad guy. He's this like evil like captain.
I'd say misunderstood.
Yeah. He's like freaking out. Zombies are coming into the facility, and there's like this smart zombie. I think his name is Bud.
Yeah.
And they're like, he kind of corners, like Bud kind of corners Captain Rhodes and shoots him because he can like learn how to shoot guns. It's weird. But he like freaks out and he runs away and he opens this door to like a horde of zombies that grab him, and he gets shot in the gut once more by Bud, and the zombies proceed to eviscerate him.
Yeah.
They pull him in half, and his guts fall out, and they pull his legs down the hall. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's all practical too.
Yeah.
And like he's like blood's coming out of his mouth, and he's getting eaten, and his last words are "choke on him."
Yes.
Choke on him. And
Fuck yeah, I love
dies, he dies like gurgling, like choke on him. And it's like, it's just like, fuck, that guy, he knew how to go.
Yeah. He's an asshole through and
He's
through.
an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's just like, fuck these assholes,
Yeah.
choke on him. Like, I just thought, like, Jesus Christ, the guy sucked throughout the whole movie, but he was badass at the end.
Dude, there's some power in just going out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with some tude.
Yep.
With some real
Yeah.
nice
Some
tude.
dudes.
Yep.
Yeah. I tried to think, like, for this list, I really tried to think of, like, non-horror deaths.
It's hard.
But it's hard, man, because it's just, like, the horror deaths stick out.
I like where you're coming from,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
I guess I purposely, I'll wait for your number 1 because I think I might know your number 1. I don't know why, but I just think I might. I don't want to say it. I'll wait. We'll wait. And then if it is,
Write it down on a sheet of paper
Yeah.
and show us. Okay, you actually, perfect segue. The name of the zombie was Bud, right? Is
Yeah.
what you said? My number 2.
Bud Air.
Yeah. Air Bud.
Air Bud. That's
Yeah,
right.
that dog died.
Bud Air.
Bud
Bud
Air.
Air. No,
That's the new Budweiser. It sucks so much, we just fill it with air.
It's just seltzer, baby. It's fine. Kill Bill Volume 2.
Okay.
Michael Madsen's character's also name is Bud. in
Yeah.
that. And whenever he's getting his payoff, and he's in his trailer out in the desert, and Daryl Hannah, California, whatever snake, brings him that money, and he's looking through, and in that suitcase is a black mamba. Now, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but I am deathly afraid of snakes. I hate snakes so fucking much, man. And this snake just strike, gets him 3 times,
him being like,
all in the. I mean, yeah, it's
jumping,
like he's like he's being shot almost.
Yeah,
it's so jarring.
It's fucked up.
It lights him up, and I mean, within a minute, less than, you know, he's on the ground, just like he's dying, man.
Yeah,
it's my biggest fear right there. I'm gonna get paid for doing this podcast, obviously.
Yeah,
a briefcase of money is gonna show up on my doorstep.
Yeah. Well, no. How it's gonna happen is you're gonna get paid. There's gonna be a briefcase, and I'm gonna have it on my lap. And you're gonna open it up, and there's gonna be a hole, and my dick's gonna be painted like a black mamba. I'm gonna be
like, just like I always dream. Yeah, that part right there. I don't know. I just fantastic movie, and that death scene.
And
right
that
there
fucking
always,
snake lives in that trailer, and they come back to the trailer, and the snake's in there still.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you kind of see it. And in my mind, the whole time watching it, I'm like, is someone going to take care of that goddamn snake?
Ugh.
Is she not concerned?
They're like fighting in there with it.
The snake is in there still. Yeah, they come back to it. And
She plucks her eyeball and puts her head in the fucking
Yep.
toilet when she plucks it. Like,
Yep.
that's fucked up.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. So, all right, numero dos.
That's a good one.
Snake bite scene there. So.
My number 2, Blade Runner. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in the rain. This like, I don't know. It's just one of the greatest death scenes
This is like your
of all
beautiful
time.
death.
Yeah.
scene
Did you watch
right
it today?
here. So I did not watch it yet.
Oh, this is the one I told Josh. I was like, I'm going to tell you one of mine because I knew Boromir's from his.
Yep.
And this went down in forever. I'll never forget this death scene. Like this, this should have been my number 1, but my number 1 is just slightly better. But it's so fucking good. He's like, he could just kill fucking Harrison Ford. Like, no problem. Just fucking kill Deckard and just like be done with it. But he doesn't. He just sits there, talks to him a little bit, tells him like the shit he's seen that'll never be seen again. Shit that's just like, why is this happening? Like, I'm human, you know, essentially I am fucking human.
Like super real.
It's
such
so
a real
fucking real.
scene. Like,
and he wrote those lines. He wrote that monologue. Like, that's all him doing all that shit.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then after he was saying that, after he said the line, the cast and crew applauding, was crying. Like, it was this really emotional fucking thing. And it's so good. Because all the other death scenes are so visceral and brutal.
Yeah.
Like, they're assassinating them, you know, putting them out.
Yeah.
And this one, he doesn't get that, you know, and it's like he could be killed. His hands all fucked up, you know, like, I don't know. It's so good. And then he releases the dove, you know, and the dove flies away. Yeah. That's my number 2. So
Nice.
yeah.
Good.
What's your number 1, Tom?
to
the number 1.
Number 1.
What?
what's your guess?
I was thinking from The Thing.
Okay, so I thought about The Thing.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
I didn't do it just because it was so much.
There's a scene in The Thing that literally scares me every single time.
Is
And
the
it's
head
like-
falling off the table or
No.
the arms coming out?
No, it's at the end when they're like setting the explosives and like I think it's like there's
Down
one guy,
underneath?
like underneath in the basement
Yeah.
and like they're setting the explosives and the one guy like turns
Yeah.
and the guy's there and he sticks his fingers into the guy's face.
Cheeks. Yeah.
It's so gross and it scares me every single time.
Have you seen it?
I know it's coming.
Yeah. No,
Okay, yeah.
exactly what
I
you're
know
talking
it's coming, but fuck, it scares me.
Yeah.
It's not my number 1. I did not choose The Thing. I thought about it though. My number 1 is Dawn of the Dead. There is
The remake?
No, the original.
Okay.
From '78.
Yeah.
George Romero. That movie, like any of the deaths, I watched that movie so many times in high school, and it made me really interested in special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were so practical.
Was it Savini doing those?
Yeah, Tom Savini. It was like one of his.
Sex machine.
I think it might have been
is.
his like first, if not one of his first,
Yeah.
special effects
Yeah.
movies. And like, I read everything about the special effects in those kills.
Yeah.
Like they used a watermelon to blow up a dude's head, and like there's a zombie that stands up on these boxes and gets the top of his head chopped off by a helicopter blade.
Yeah.
And they just put like, he's got like a Frankenstein head.
Yeah.
And they just like put like a top on there and a string and they just yanked it really fast. And then they had like a dude like pumping blood like, coming down. And then there's just like so many scenes where I'm like, I want to know how that's done. And specifically there's a Hare Krishna, which is like a religious dude from like the 70s and 80s. It was like a religious movement. But there's a scene
Josh is really big into Hare Krishna.
Huge.
there's a scene where like
Harry Krishna. Yeah. I'm huge into that. Yeah.
there's a scene where so Tom Savini's in that movie,
Yeah.
and there's a scene where he takes this machete and just fucking whacks him in the face.
Yeah.
And it looks so real, and you just feel the fucking machete just hit that dude's face, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like,
Just sticks
why
there.
did you do that?
Yeah.
And like I researched the shit out of that, and so like they trace the guy's face, and then they cut out a part of the machete,
Yeah.
and they filmed it in reverse. So they just put it on his
Oh, that's
Cool.
great.
face, and then
Okay.
they just yanked it off.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so
So it
cool.
looks like it's stuck in. but
Yeah, it looks like it just went.
Yeah.
And because of like seeing all those like very practical effects, I wanted to see horror movies. Like that was like that was the catalyst for me just going down the horror movie slope and like just watching a million horror movies and being like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it was like the first movie where I was like, you can like guffaw at fucking deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, oh, what the fuck? You know, like
It's cool because after you do that like research into special effects, horror movies take a whole different turn. They're not like for the scare factor anymore. It's for the I know how they fucking did that.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like
it's just and
super
like,
cool.
And now when you see like CG effects, you're like, fuck, like
So I got a question for you.
yeah.
Tell me, I still have no idea how they did this. The Cannibal Holocaust spike through the ass, through the mouth of the woman.
Yeah.
How did they do that?
That was
That's a real person.
yeah,
But
it's just a cut.
Dude, but it's crazy. If you really watch it,
It
doesn't
real.
move. The post doesn't move in her mouth. So she's not like, doesn't just have like a foam post in her mouth. Foam doesn't move. Like she's obviously sitting on like a pad,
Yeah.
but it looks like it goes through it. Like there's no fucking, and then they pack them. I don't know. There's a lot in Cannibal Holocaust. It's obviously probably not. There's like real animal death and shit in
There's
there.
real animal death,
But
but they
very
like had
irresponsible.
like
And the directors went to jail for a while because they
Yeah.
thought they killed people in
Yeah.
it, like real
Yeah.
tribal people.
that movie is so like if you've not seen it, the movie is like one of the most notorious horror films of all time
Yeah.
because like people thought that shit was real.
Yeah.
And the special effects are so good in that movie. And they mix it with like real animal deaths, which
Cutting that tortoise like
like
that turtle.
they rip off like
fucking
the shell of a
brutal.
tortoise and they cut off the top of the head of a monkey and they eat its
Don't
brains
they like
and shit.
gut a mongoose or something, or
Yeah,
like some
they do,
little
like,
critter?
all
that-
this crazy shit, and they intersplice it with these fake deaths to like fuck with your brain.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing like real animals die.
That was like the
And
first
then-
like real found footage shit
found
too.
footage
like,
style like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So like that movie, yeah. So they had to research on like how to like legally show animal deaths.
Yeah.
And it's like they got natives who ate those animals. So like that's the reason why they can still show that movie is because those natives, that's like their actual food.
Because they're not exploiting it, they're showing documentation kind of thing.
Yeah. So then they splice it in with like cannibal shit.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. I watched that movie on a double feature with Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox, which are all, like it is equally like disgusting and disturbing cannibal movie.
Yeah, I've never
And
seen
I
that
thought
one.
I was gonna puke. Like it was so gross.
I gotta see
watching
Cannibal
both.
Ferox. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah. I'll definitely check
I remember watching the beginning of that. I got that from Netflix when it was still a mail-in service.
Oh yeah.
I remember
And
that.
got it sent to me. Watching that, and at the beginning, there was like a disclaimer being like, you know, like this is one of the most irresponsible movies ever made. You know, we're distributing it right now just as a lesson to people on maybe like how not to
and they
make
make like a
movies
small
and-
profit.
Yeah, make small profit. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But saying all that and be like, oh my god, what am I getting into?
That was
right
like
here?
that was
like
the
Faces of Death.
original. Yeah, that was like the original Blair Witch.
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, people thought it was real, and like you said, the filmmakers got arrested when they brought the film to America. They were arrested at the airport,
Yeah.
and the film was confiscated, and they had to produce the actors.
Yeah.
like the
These
actors
people
had
are
to
still
fly
alive?
in and be like, "Hey, yo, I'm alive." Like that shit was fake.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy how well
Yeah.
that was done.
Yeah.
And like in the fucking jungle. Like they're doing this shit on site. Like some balls, man.
Yeah.
That's some cool shit right there. I don't really agree with the animal death, but like the film is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah,
goes down as one of the
the
like you said, the
animal
most
deaths
notorious
are
shit.
really hard to watch.
They are. They're really fucking tough. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, you realize that it's not the cannibals that are the bad guys, even, and it's the film crew. They're antagonizing.
Yeah, they're like
them. They
raping
go in there,
and
yeah.
fucking pillaging.
They
They're
go in there and they shoot that pig like
Yeah,
right there,
they're
just trying to
fucking 'em up, man,
piss
like-
everybody off. Yeah, Yeah, that was a tough movie to watch. I felt really
fucked
really off after watching that.
All right, palate cleanser.
Hey.
What's your number
All
one,
right.
Jesse?
So my number one comes from a really bad movie. I'm gonna say a song lyric, and then I want you guys to tell me if
I
you
like
know
this.
what movie this is from.
Okay.
So it's kind of in the title, but oh well, fuck it. Deepest bluest, my hat is like a shark's fin.
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea,
Yeah.
baby.
Samuel Jackson.
LL Cool J, the Samuel L. Jackson scene.
I knew it.
So there's this part in it where they realize, like, hey, we're
This part
trapped.
was awesome.
It's so cool, man. They're like, all right,
So
we're
good.
trapped in this like underwater research facility. The sharks are coming after us. And everyone's kind of arguing, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, "Will you all just shut the fuck up for a minute?" And I'm gonna deliver this inspiring monologue about how I survived this horrible situation, and what really killed everybody was fighting between us. Now they said there were 3 survivors or something, but 2 of them died fighting each other.
Did you say LL Cool J, by the way?
He's
Yeah, he's
in
in
it. LL Cool J wrote that song that I was saying. Deepest, bluest, and then he's like the cook who's
He
got
plays
the
the
parrot.
chef? Yeah, with the parrot? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
They're like
I don't remember
fantastic
that.
comedic relief. Great.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So delivering this monologue, and everyone's like, "Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't fight," And he's like, "And we're gonna get through this thing, and we're gonna, survive this, and we're gonna be stronger." Before he can even like finish his line, there's this like little spot where for pressurization in this facility, like the water's coming up through it, and the shark breaches through it. Boom! Just snags him up, pulls him down, chomps him up, and everyone's like, okay, this is really bad now. Like, clearly, it's so abrupt and jarring that you're
It's
like,
great.
It's so good, man.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
It took like a pretty mediocre movie, and then you're like, "Fuck, what's going on? These fucking sharks!
Yeah.
They can swim backwards."
Oh, yeah. That's such a guilty pleasure. I recognize how bad of a movie that is, but man, it's so much fun to watch. That's a good watch. There's a really cool scene towards the beginning where a guy gets his arm bit off. It's like one of the main researchers at the facility, and the gore on that is fantastic too.
Yeah.
The shark just bites his arm off, and it's Kill Bill style, just blood spraying.
See, that's the thing about some of those shitty movies is the movie is so poor, but the special effects are so well done.
It's like
and it changes the whole movie for it.
Did you guys ever see Ghost Ship?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the beginning,
That's
The
a
Wire?
dumbass movie, but
Yeah.
the beginning fucking
so
rules.
good.
Yep.
I mean,
Man, late
So
honorable
fucked
mention
up.
there. I forgot about that one. That's a really cool scene.
that should have been a number 1. Yeah. I
That,
didn't
like
think about
all
that.
those people dancing on the
Yeah.
bridge of the ship, and then like the fucking wire just
Clank.
cuts all of them in half.
Yeah. That's so fucked up.
Strong. Cool. All right, what do you got, Bobby?
All right, my number 1, got to bring it back to the feels part of the show here.
Oh, here we
This I literally cried like multiple times when I rewatched it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
When Mufasa dies? Is that what?
Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
have probably all seen that.
Yeah, I
It's
love that movie.
Hands down my favorite movie. Like I've watched it a billion times. And when Owen Wilson's character Ned dies in the helicopter crash in the water.
Yeah.
So good. So fucking good. It's his like estranged son who's not really his son that he named Ned.
Right.
That's not his real fucking name.
I would have named you Kingsley.
I don't know. There's like the whole thing is just so fucking brutal. I mean, I wrote some stuff here that's like pretty much the same stuff that I'm saying, but like the feeling for it, you can't really say in words. You just got to watch the whole thing and then experience it. Yeah, and it's so shocking. It's one of those like jarring moments where you're like, "What the fuck just happened?" Because it comes from like such a positive moment. They're like, "All right, we're fucking doing it," and it's kind of funny. Like as it's happening, and they crash. And it's like, oh, I fucking told him to like fix this thing, like all this stuff. Yeah. And then you look, and as the camera dips down through the water, it's like blue,
And then reality
and then red.
In,
yeah. And then you start seeing more blood, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then he dies, and you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
It's changed.
Ends his quest there to find, like you said, his estranged father, who's actually find out not his dad, but the relationship there is very real. That's
really good.
Yeah.
Really, really solid fucking death scene.
Yeah.
So.
There's so many. I think My problem is I block out all of those death scenes because they're just too emotional for me.
They are, yeah.
So I couldn't come up with them in my list. Like thinking about it now, like the dad dinosaur dying in The Good Dinosaur, like made me cry. That movie like made me cry like 18 times.
Yeah.
I have
While
not
watching
seen that. What is it? The Good
Dinosaur. It's a newer one.
It's like a dinosaur that made me cry, and like Infinity War when Spider-Man dies was like horrific to me. Like he's just sitting there and he's like, I don't want to go, and he's like crying.
I'm scared, Mr. Stark.
He's a kid. I'm scared, Mr. Stark. He's a kid. He's fucking dying, and it's Spider-Man. Like, one of my greatest heroes of all time.
The only problem about Infinity War is you're like, all right, it's not real. Like they're not gonna kill him off. There's more movies coming out, you know. Like, but it's still in that moment.
I got swept up.
Yeah,
I got real swept up.
My problem is like. When I say I cried during the movie, it's not like I blubbered and I was like, oh my God. It's like tears are happening. You're looking around like, don't you fucking look at me. Nobody look at me.
Nobody
Right
look
now,
at me.
And it's like, you're sitting there watching it and it's like that moment right there. You're in the theaters and you're in it. Like Han Solo dying. Like that was so powerful. Like as he's saying that shit to him and like, thank you. This is, awesome. And you're like, well, what's happening? And then it happens. You're like, holy Jesus Christ. Don't look at me.
You're like, why?
I almost used that one, but since we talked about it a little bit last week, but still.
That's all those like quick little and it sucks because I had more of them, but all my honorable mentions are like not like that, and I was gonna do more emotional death scenes, but even Mufasa as a kid, like that shit's fucking brutal, man. That shit's super brutal.
The wife in Up.
I was gonna put Up and I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a rough one. Any like Pixar, Disney, any of that shit.
Why do they gotta kill a parent?
Yeah,
they always gotta kill one parent.
Get right into the feels and pull you in,
kick
suck
you right
you
in
in.
the balls.
Absolutely.
I kind of like that.
Well, and like it starts it off. It's not like it ends with the parent dying. It's always like, oh hey, you're gonna watch this kids cartoon. Boom!
Tragedy strikes.
And then the journey of redemption.
Yeah.
I don't know. What other ones are there that are like fucking super emotional? I'm trying to think of some now. And anyway, let's go to break and we'll come right back.
And we're back. And now that we're back, let me start with a question here. Of all of those movies, I know you mentioned Best Buy. How many of those do you think you actually rented in video stores back in the day?
A lot.
A fair amount, right?
Yeah, all of these movies I rented.
Yeah, at some point, right?
Yeah.
And that's something like
except for There Will Be Blood.
Okay,
that's the only one.
as a dad now,
to rent it.
Yeah, I just wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. I think about how, my boys are never going to experience a blockbuster on a Friday night, or a summer night in the middle of the week, and mom drives you and your buddy up there, and boys, why don't you pick out 2 movies tonight?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing, dude. That
you
was
don't even have time to watch them both, but you're like, yes,
But that's just something they're never going to experience, and that was a huge part of my childhood. I know we're all roughly about the same age here, and we probably
Tom's 47,
47 next month.
Very. People say I look very young.
But that's just something they're going to miss out on. Yeah. And I mean, I hold near and dear. I worked in video stores. I spent a lot of time, obviously we probably all did, being all kind of movie buffs and whatnot. But I just kind of want to spend a little time reminiscing what that was like, you know? Sure. So maybe we can document this and some point in time they can hear about what a video store was like back in the growing up in the 90s or early 2000s.
I have vivid memories and smells, which is weird, but like I have vivid memories, smells, and like I had a split. So my parents are divorced, so I would do like time at my mom's, time at my dad's, time at the grandparents, right? So I'd have these like this trifecta.
Sure.
And obviously, as a kid, what the fuck is the easiest thing to shut a kid up is go buy a fucking movie, rent a movie.
Yeah.
And growing up, we had Mr. Movies in Hibbing. Was there Mr. Movies here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. There was one in Highland Park.
Mr. Movies was great. It was green. It wasn't the blockbuster stuff. It was cool. It was great. It was a big movie chain, as far as I know. And it was every time we had to go to the doctor for something. It was like shots or like, because I used to get strep throat a lot. So every time I get strep throat, we go to Taco John's after I get my penicillin shot, and then we go to Mr. Movies and pick out a movie. And
You'd catch strep throat just for the tacos.
I'm licking every pole. And I ain't talking metal poles here, boys.
He's pulling every piece of gum from under the table.
This smells streppy.
Swallows it.
That's where Bobby learned to
I got
swallow.
weird
right?
poops.
I know, weird shits. But yeah, that pushed me right into. I had an NES growing up, and my first recollection. I'm sure I rented other ones, but my first big one had a babysitter, rented a video game, Mega Man, and I don't remember which Mega Man it was, but it was. I remember sitting there with my fucking shitty ass TV, Nintendo on the ground, babysitting, bitching about some shit in the background, and I'm just like, I felt that's my gaming moment. Like I played shitty fucking games, like old, baseball games and shit like that. I played Faxinadu a lot, and I didn't understand it as a kid and shit like that, like these weird RPGs. But that's when gaming clicked for me, was a rental Mega Man. And I don't even remember what Mega Man it was. And it was just so vivid in my memory of like the select screen of the different bosses and just being like, holy Christ, like this, it changed everything for me. So that's my
That's awesome.
intro into rentals and shit. What do you think, Tom?
I think about this all the time. Like, I love the.
You kind of have a rental in your basement.
And like that was like my whole deal. So I bought a house 4 years ago, and in the basement we have what we call the library now. It's like a game room, but it has I built a movie closet to kind of emulate like movie rental stores.
Yeah.
It's a big spot. It's not a closet. That's a big fucking spot.
Yeah. I got a real Blockbuster sign from a real Blockbuster.
Cool.
And like they meant so much to me, like growing up. Like it was more than just like renting movies. It was like family time.
Yeah.
And like spending time with my parents.
Yeah.
So like my dad, so we went to Home Video was our main one, and it was on Snelling. My parents have always been into movies. That's where I get it. And when like VCRs came out, they got a loan to buy a VCR.
Wow.
Like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And like it cost a ton of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they were one of the first people to rent from Home Video ever. So they became gold members because they were one of the first people to ever rent movies in like 1982.
Yeah.
It was like one of the movies they rented was 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton and Lily Tomlin.
All right.
Yeah.
They're like, which ones do we have? And it's like 3.
Yeah.
You're like, I guess the Dolly Parton one.
Yeah, I guess that one. That'll look great on the small screen. Can't wait to experience that one. But like we went to Home Video. There was Mr. Movies.
Yeah.
There was Blockbuster, and there was Hollywood Video.
Hollywood Video. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, and they were all kind of in our neighborhood, so we would like hit up different rental stores. Like we had memberships at all of them, and like we would go there and we would spend like 45 minutes to an hour in the store.
It's never a simple pick.
It's never a simple thing.
Nope.
And we would walk around the entire new release wall and look at like every fucking
Even
movie.
if you did it
Generally
the week
on the-
before and it's the
Yes.
same,
Yes.
you still did it.
But always on the outside
Yeah.
of everything, right?
Yep.
The perimeters of the
It
store.
was
You
always
never
the
go
outside.
interior.
Yeah.
There- None of that shit.
And
It's
like
all
Those are the
exterior.
deep dives.
Yep.
The interior was like, oh, we're gonna like deep dive.
Yep.
Holy shit, this is crazy. But like I have so many vivid memories of going there with my dad and picking out movies together.
Fights too, though.
You had
You guys never had fun. Like
You
it was
guys
like,
have
I
fi-
want this
do you
one.
have a fist fight?
I want
Yeah.
Jerry
Well, you
Springer,
had a
motherfucker.
sister, a
Yeah.
super
You-
hot sister.
Yeah, man.
Hey, woohoo!
Brothers in arms.
Love you, baby.
Yeah. But like you had that, like you're talking about family time. There's also that, like, I don't know if you guys had that, but like my dad and I, it's like, fuck, man, I want this. And it's like, nah, that's dumb as shit. We're getting this one.
Oh.
Did you guys not have that?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, your family sucked.
Oh, yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, rough.
I'm just kidding.
Rough.
Like no, like we were just like my parents would be like, oh yeah, what do you got? All right, yeah, that looks okay.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Wow.
And my like
I
if
wish I had your
got
parents.
like if my mom was with, like we'd pick out like kind of safe stuff.
Okay.
And then if it was just me and my dad, like we would rent like crazy shit.
Porn.
Awesome.
Almost.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
hey, just
We
follow me in
rented-
behind the back curtain back here. We're gonna go check out this section.
Yeah. We were at
Barbed wire.
we were at home video and we were like, oh, let's rent this movie. It's got Rosie O'Donnell and Rosie O'Donnell and Dan Aykroyd. Like, let's rent it. It's got to be funny.
What the fuck?
And so we rented this movie called Exit to Eden. And so we were watching it, and like it's like this photographer takes a picture of this like mafioso that his picture has never been taken before. And he finds out that this photographer took this picture. Well, the photographer is going off to some island vacation, and so they sent like a hitman. And Rosie O'Donnell and Dan Aykroyd play like FBI agents who know and try and like get the photo from this photographer. It turns out that the island is like a sex island.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
and it is like just nonstop nudity and sex. And it's just like everybody's banging. But the nudity and sex doesn't start right away. It starts like 25 minutes in. Well, I'm watching it with my dad, and he falls asleep.
Oh.
And I'm
This
like,
is the dream scenario.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
I'm
here.
like 9, or like 8 or 9. And I'm just like,
I know where this is going.
oh my God. Like, I remember like this, like the scene where this lady puts butter on her tits.
Jesus.
And then like the guy takes cinnamon and like dabs
Wow.
cinnamon on her tits and then starts licking them off.
Take some notes.
And I was
real
like,
quick on that.
I was like, whoa. And my dad's just like just totally passed out. And my sister walks in and she's like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Dad? And I'm like, what? Nothing's happening.
I was asleep too, I swear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk up to my room. Anybody got these books? Or just don't look at me.
Just don't look at me. I gotta hear you. Yeah, and like that's like a rental store memory.
Yeah.
Like we rented that movie.
You don't know. You don't know
didn't
what you're
know.
picking.
All we could only see what's on the back
Yep.
and what they tell you.
And you think it's a safe pick with Rosie O'Donnell and Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd. These are
Rosie O'Donnell is not getting naked.
And in the 90s, she had the Rosie O'Donnell like daytime talk show
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing,
it's like
right?
Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd. Come on.
yeah,
Like, he's gonna be
Ghostbusters.
fine.
Like, what the fuck?
But like all of that, like my dad would take me there'd be one weekend every month where he would take me to home video and we'd rent like 3 James Bond movies.
Cool.
And that'd be
Oh.
like James Bond weekend.
Yeah.
Like, hey, cool. And like my brother took me once and we rented Toxic Avenger.
Yeah,
nice.
Taxi.
Yeah. And I was like, this is fucking great. I was like
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
And he was like,
And
yeah.
they run that kid's head over.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like super violent. And like I love Toxic Avenger now
Yeah.
because I have these like
Remember when the
memories.
action figures came
There
out?
were some sweet Toxic Avenger action.
There was
figures,
some
dude.
really
Yeah.
cool.
It's 'cause
It,
there
it
was
was
a-
like nothing to do with
there's
the
a cartoon.
movie. Yeah.
There's a
right.
kids
Yeah.
cartoon.
That's right.
How
Toxic
does that
Crusaders.
fucking happen? How did that like
no
migrate
idea.
to kids?
No idea.
So brutal.
But like,
Yeah.
I think like what you were saying, like I think about how my son will never experience that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it bums me the fuck out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I want him to take like an hour trying to pick a movie and then getting frustrated and picking a shitty movie.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, getting upset and then
Experiencing that.
like experiencing that
And having your card, like
yeah.
having the Best Buy card or the Blockbuster card or the Mission Movies card, and like,
yeah, it's like it's
Super
It's a
cool.
whole world to explore,
yeah,
and now it's gone.
yeah. It'll you go on. Now we have, fuck, how many? Disney Plus, Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, fucking
HBO Max.
so many
Like,
fucking.
just-
Now they have the Peacock,
Yeah.
the fucking NBC one or whatever, CBS. It's just, it's never ending now, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing at the movie store, but now I just sit on Netflix and I'm like, oh, fucking,
Yeah,
what the
like,
fuck?
It's
Put
lost
something
its
new
meaning.
on.
The choice
There's
of making a decision.
Because now you can be
know?
like, start, ugh, no, next one, start, ugh, you know, and
yeah,
it's like,
it was it was training us to commit to something.
yeah,
Right? Like you have a limited selection.
yeah,
Where now you have an unlimited selection. You could find that movie. If you wanted to see a movie, you could more than likely find it. You can find it on YouTube.
Yep.
If it's not on any streaming service, you can illegally download it.
yeah.
You can fucking just
That's something I had written down actually, where I was talking about finding a movie at a movie store and then having the buy bin.
Yeah.
The buy bin, you'd find those movies that you're like, what is that fucking movie? And it's like Pumpkinhead, and you're like, but
such a buy bin movie.
It was such a perfect buy bin, like the Nightmare on Elm Streets and shit like that.
Fucking
They're like
Air Force One.
Yeah.
$5.
Greatest Harrison Ford movie.
Get off my plane.
But the buy bin was so cool, and it's like, you don't have that with Netflix. You won't, like even Amazon. It's like, fuck. $10 to rent a fucking movie now that COVID's here and like you can't go to a movie theater. Like $10 fucking dollars. Are you high?
Yeah.
No, I'm waiting for that. The Ren and Stimpy thing's on Amazon.
Yeah.
$7 to watch that documentary about Ren and Stimpy's creator being a fucking psycho sexual molester or some shit.
Yeah.
I'm waiting until that shit's free. Like I'm gonna just wait a month and it'll be free. You couldn't do that at a Blockbuster.
Well, I think also, I mean, so like you had such a limited selection, and it allowed you to explore more. So like you would rent the newest release, right? But then you'd probably rent an old movie because they usually have them cheaper, like
99 cents or
it'd
something.
be like $5 for a new release for 2 nights, or like $2.99 or $2 for an older release for 5 days. And you were like, well, I'll get a new one and an old one. And like you could explore what they had. It was a library. And you had that limited selection, but you would take chances. You would take risks that you don't take anymore because, like you said, you just turn it off.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck this. I'll just watch the next thing on my list. Like,
how often did you ever leave a game store? How often did you ever leave like a Blockbuster or Mr. Movies to go to the next one to see if they had the new release?
We would do it every once in a while, but we would mostly just stick to our guns.
I was gonna say, we would. I would never leave. I'd be like, fuck it.
Yeah,
I can
my
think
dad
of
would
one
be like,
time.
I'm not driving. Like
Exactly.
Like,
The
you pick
4
something
blocks.
out right now.
Yep.
Like we've already been here for an hour. I'm not going to go to.
It always was an adventure.
Yeah.
It was always a fucking long-term event.
Yeah.
And it was exciting. You get in your car,
Oh, yeah.
everybody's giddy as shit. And like, well, mine was a little different than yours. Some of us would leave unhappy. There'd be like fuck.
Yeah.
The other thing
You just got left in the car. It's like, just
rolled the
don't
windows
even.
up,
Yeah.
heat on, the middle of summer.
Yeah. They roll up the windows. Fuck this kid.
No, they leave him down, put a
It's
free
super
sticker
hot.
on the car.
It's super hot. He's passed out in the back. He's fine.
The other like crazy part about the movie stores, the covers of the movies. I remember going to movies and picking just because the cover was so cool.
Very important.
Absolutely.
And it was such a shit movie. There was this one called The Dentist
Yeah.
where it's like metal fucking sharp teeth.
Corbin
Sure.
Burnson.
Dude, yeah, and it was like watching it, you're like, oh, this is not as cool as I imagined it from the front of the fucking movie. Like
exactly. The ice
those.
cream man.
I was just thinking that.
Clint Howard and the Ice Cream Man. Same. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yes.
Yeah, dude. Like that cover, I was like, whoa. That looks intense.
Was there
And then it was
like an eyeball cherry or something on his ice cream
it was
cone
a
or
fucking
something?
ice cream cone with an eyeball on top. And it was like, ice cream, you die. Or something like that.
Man, there was none of that all ever happened. Being scared of covers of movies.
Yeah, dude.
As a kid, you're going like, oh, I don't want to look at that. Oh shit, I saw it.
That one's still here.
No.
Yep.
In the late 80s and early 90s, they did this whole thing where they tried to like create the craziest covers.
Yeah.
So there was covers with like light up stuff. Like there was I forget the name of it, but it has like a dude on an electric chair. It's not Shocker or anything like that, but it was like a independent movie, and you press a button and he'd light up.
Wow.
And
cool.
it was like so fucking freaky. Or like you'd have there's a movie called The Dead Pit that had like a creature like coming out of a grave, and you press the button on the cover and its eyes would start flashing.
Wow.
And it was really
Wow.
fucked up. And then that evolved to like lenticular covers where like it like the shit moved.
Yeah.
And, like,
Oh, yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. The eyes would close or open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, whoa, that's
Yep.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I remember when DVDs came out and Army of Darkness or what's the
Evil
first
Dead?
one? Evil Dead, and the DVD case was the book.
Oh, yeah.
of
The
dead,
Necronomicon.
right?
Yeah.
The Necronomicon, right? That's kind of
Yep.
maybe the evolution of that a little
Yep.
bit too.
That's a huge thing we shouldn't just gloss over. Let's take a quick break and we'll be
Yeah.
right back and talk about the transition from
transition.
VCR to DVD.
Yep.
Welcome back. We are talking about video store memories.
All right.
Oh yes.
So
Yeah.
we are going to transition here from VCR. We'll probably pop back into VCR here in a little bit, but
We had the privilege of living through this whole transition period where VHS tapes slowly began to be replaced by DVDs.
do you remember HD DVDs?
For sure.
Yes.
Yep. There was that war between Blu-ray and HD DVD.
Yeah.
And I was actually working at video stores whenever that
Okay.
whole
Because, I guess that
war
would come
was
later,
going
so-
down.
That was
Yeah.
a little later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, about 1997 or 1998 is when DVD like really hit the market.
Yep.
And so there was two warring formats, much like HD, DVD, and Blu-ray.
Yeah.
There was DivX and there was DVDs. And DivX were like fucking CDs. They were just CDs with movies on them. And the really shitty thing about it was you would get a DivX player, you would get a DivX
It was like
Movie.
DIVX?
DIVX. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
You get a DivX movie, and then you could watch it twice, and then you'd have to rent it anytime you wanted to watch it again.
What?
So it was an online service, and you'd watch it twice for free, and then there would be a paywall. So if you wanted to watch it again, you'd have to pay like $2.99. Keep in mind,
Wow.
you already bought it for $20, and $20 in 1997 was
Wonder
like,
why
the
that
fuck?
didn't
Yeah.
work out.
yeah. The guys at Circuit City convinced my parents to get a DivX DVD combo.
They
bought all
just
these-
bought stock in
Yeah.
DVDs at that point, right?
We bought a couple DivX movies, and we found out that the DivX service stopped like 2 weeks before we bought the fucking DivX machine. So then we returned it, and we were like, "Fuck you! We want a DVD player."
Yeah.
Yeah. So DVDs transitioned, and it
And
was like
Brent at Best Buy was like,
yeah, Circuit City.
oh, Circuit City.
Yeah.
Shelve them next to your laser disc at home, asshole.
Yeah. So that was like a leap, man. Like
Yeah.
VHS to DVD.
Oh,
It was
shit just changed because then you had main menus.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the Star Wars main menu
Yes,
for
we were.
Empire.
Yep.
The main menus of those movies, like just fucking any movie, they were so cool, some of them. Some of them were so
Yeah.
fucking well thought out, and some of them were so fucking trash.
Yeah.
And do you remember the DVD remotes?
yeah.
Yeah.
They were so bad, and PlayStation's like, "Hey, I'm gonna hop on board here, and this is gonna be a DVD player for the remote too." And it's like every button did something fucking different.
Yeah.
Why were the DVD button or remotes so many buttons?
They just had to streamline that stuff.
It was
yet
like-
at that point.
ridiculous.
It was like numbers. Why do I need numbers?
Yeah, it was crazy
It was
amount
like
of shit.
It had like DVDs had like chapter selects, and so you could like type in the fucking chapter number.
You
and
could
hit
fast
enter.
forward through the previews and shit if you didn't want to watch those.
Yeah, it was a total game changer.
Yeah.
Like we got a DVD player, like I said, after we got the stupid DivX player. We brought it back and got a DVD player, and we were much like the VHS. We were like the first family to have like a fucking DVD player.
cutting edge technology at the
Yeah.
Reinert
Yeah,
household.
my
all the
parents were just
time.
like, "Get on it! Like, we want to see it. 9 to 5. Where is it on DVD?
hell yeah.
Every new medium you have a night about.
Yeah, so like we got it, and like I remember my dad like inviting friends over to like check out a DVD player.
Yeah.
Because they had never seen it before. And like we had Heat on DVD,
Oh,
the movie
yeah.
Heat.
Yeah.
And like the fucking like I remember like he brought a bunch of dudes over from his work, and was like, listen, you can hear him cock the shotgun, and you could hear the fucking bullet casing hit the street, and like you could hear all this shit, and you could see it all. Like you could see like smoke from the gun and shit, and it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
But like, it was a slow transition in the rental stores.
It was.
Oh yeah, heavy. Yeah, because they had that DVD VHS combo for a long time.
Yeah.
Where it was like, they didn't really have to transition out, you know. But once DVD caught on, it was that out of nowhere abrupt boom, VCR gone. You know, it was that.
Well,
like,
they kind of got pushed
while,
to the middle of the store. There'd be like,
and then it was just like DVDs everywhere, and you're like, oh my
VHS
God.
blowout sale.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like
I bought a bunch of those because I was working at a video store at the time, so I was just like, oh yeah, man, let's get this shit up.
I worked at Blockbuster
There
when
you
they
go.
were like phasing out VHSs.
it's fucking nuts that we saw that.
Yeah.
We saw VHS full bore, like
in
the fucking like prime of their life, phase out to DVD, phase out to like HDVD Blu-ray, and then get the final Blu-ray. And now it's like home movies. Like you don't have to fucking leave your fucking house anymore. Yeah. And now because of COVID, you don't have to go to the fucking theater anymore. Yeah. You can rent a brand new movie comes out to your house.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a cool time that we lived through with movie stores, and like movie stores were the epicenter. Like you would see your friends at the movie store on like a Friday night, right? Like you bump into their family, and like, you know, their parents are like, "Oh no, we're not renting porn."
They just pick something out just to like sandwich it between some other DVDs, you know. At that time too, I kind of remember being a kid and thinking like, "Oh, this is it." You've made it if you work at Blockbuster.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're the guy working here, you want to know.
You could rent any movie.
You go any movie. Yeah. This guy can watch anything, and like he could probably tell me anything about any movie, you know. Yeah. And then I got to like be on the other end of that a little bit. That's not quite the case, but like that's one of my favorite jobs I've ever had. Yeah. I worked at Movie Gallery was the rental franchise that I worked for originally. Ultra corporate style one. And basically they were kind of going through their transition out. I think they maybe stayed open a year or less by the time I left or afterwards.
Okay.
And there was a Ma and Pa rental store down in Ozark, Missouri called Buster's Video. Not Blockbusters, but Buster's Video. And so we did
Buster's Block
by Josh, you know, buy, sell, trade stuff. And we were going through that VHS transition out. So I was just scooping that stuff up just to have a collection. That was a lot of fun. We used to have kind of a fun story about this. This guy that was just sort of a notorious thief, and not out of our store, but he would, on DVD release day, which if I remember right, I feel like it was Tuesdays. Does that sound right to anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Tuesdays.
It was Tuesdays, right?
Yeah.
And he would go to Walmart and steal 30 copies of the same fucking movie and bring them to us. And I just lowball. Oh, yeah. I give him 50 cents a copy. Like, he didn't give a fuck. You know, what else is he going to do with them? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can either go, you know, try and distribute them to the friends that you don't have, or you can come here and I'll give you $12-15 for all these and throw them in my bargain bin, and I'm taking one home with me tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a sweet deal, and I got the opportunity to do that a lot when people would bring stuff in for buy, sell, trade. You know, it's like you're gonna get lowballed on DVDs no matter what. You know, there's like
it's like GameStop with DVD or with games.
For sure. You know, so that really helped me bolster my collection at the time. And that was a lot of fun for me. Eventually I traded it off and whatnot, but kind of being on the other side of that.
Yeah.
It was a cool job. Loved that job.
I've never worked in a movie store. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's always like that, the knowledgeable guy on the other end. It's almost like the comic book guy in like The Simpsons or some shit. You know what I mean?
I worked at Blockbuster in college.
Yeah.
And it was pretty, like, I think I hated it at the time, but like I loved it.
And
like,
it
was like I loved and hated it. Like Blockbuster was super corporate, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And like in the 80s and even like partly into the 90s, there was mom and pop stores everywhere.
Yep.
Like that was like a thing. Like you would just get into the movie business because it was like
booming.
It was easy.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to rent movies. And then Blockbuster came along and shoved them all to the side.
Yeah.
And like Blockbuster was everywhere.
And they had like 500 copies of the new release always and shit.
That was the thing, is like they always had the new release.
Yeah.
And working there was like an experience, man. We got 5 free movies a week. And then
That's so insane.
I would
So much.
I would like I would immediately rent 5 movies on like a Monday.
Yep.
When it started up. Like, it was just like, oh, I'm done.
Couldn't get to them
Oh,
fast
I'm done.
enough.
Crap. And then
Just blow your free rental load right away.
just all done. And then I'd watch them. I'd watch all of them like within like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like I would just burn through movies, and then I would pay to rent movies.
They were making money off you as
They
you're
were
working.
making money off of me because I was just like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna rent all these movies too.
But you got a discount?
No,
What?
you didn't get a discount at Blockbuster.
I was supposed to get 5 free
Like
rentals.
I got that was my discount, and
Yeah.
I burned right through them.
Unless you're being sneaky in your
yeah, that 5-finger discount.
sliding a copy out.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at. It's lost in the
Or Philip comes
return
in with his
box.
Walmart stolen goods.
sliding his copy out.
Speaking of sliding his copy out, the feeling of the movies, like the VHS like boxes,
Yeah.
those were fucking awesome.
Sure.
And
So
remember like the
smooth and, like, grippy.
plastic
Yes. Yep.
cases that would go over.
Yep. The sleeves.
Yeah,
You'd like pinch
You'd have to,
them
like,
a
pinch
little
'em,
bit. Yeah.
and then they would slide right out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, baby.
Yeah,
yeah.
those were
And then
awesome.
how about whenever you probably experienced this at Blockbuster, there was like a little clip on the side of the box that would
Yep.
lock the box in.
Yep.
And you'd slam them into these things and like crank them off or
and pull.
whatever.
Yeah.
Jank and pull.
It was like there was like 2 magnets that would lock it in place, and then there were 2 magnets that would push them in so you could slide it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That was like that was a jump in technology. Whenever they
dude.
had that one, there were a few
And, like,
different iterations of.
The thieves would just they would like pop off the tab at the bottom, and they would take a screwdriver and just shove it up into it, and it would just rip it out. Or like they would just cut the sides and take the disc.
I was gonna say it's
or-
just plastic, so
yeah,
it's like
but like fancy ass dudes would be like, I'm gonna break the clip at the bottom
Yeah.
and shove this fucking screwdriver up. And you'd see the dude, and they're like, you'd always catch the dudes. I don't know if I was.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like they'd be.
Like, are you jacking off? No.
Yeah, they're like,
No, I'm over.
trying to get this, and you'd hear it. It's like, and you're like, dude, like, stop. Seriously,
Come on,
and
man.
like,
Just
and
get
they
the
were
fuck
like,
outta here.
and they'd always prairie dog too. Like they'd like hide behind the shelves,
go
and then
behind
you'd
the
see
shelf.
them,
Yeah.
and they go,
you know,
and they're just prairie dogging, and I'm like, oh, fucking, I gotta do this.
just spraying with
Yeah.
water.
Check on him.
Bad, bad.
So that on the other end of that, I feel like there was sort of a ripoff that there probably plenty of ripoffs, but one that specifically at Movie Gallery that we did where we offered PlayGuard, which was a 50-cent insurance on your copy of the DVD. That
Oh my God,
if you
really?
scratch it up or whatever, we're not going to charge you for it, right?
Jesus Christ.
Nobody ever charged anybody for any of that
Yeah.
stuff, but it was just another way of trying to upsell something and them to get 50 more cents from everything.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean they sunk, but
Well,
at Buster's video it was super cool. We didn't do that, and we also had a DVD buffer, which was super cool. I'd like put the little ointment, like the oil in, and then we'd just buff out anything, and then people would come in. It would kind of suck, but they'd bring in their collection sometimes, or they'd bring in like a CD book when people were still popping CDs in, and they'd be like, "How much?" And it was $1 per. But it'd take 4 or 5 minutes for each one. So I'd be sitting there having fucking small talk with just whoever about their, I don't know.
their ABBA collection.
For sure. You know, just stuff like Alan Jackson down in Missouri. You know, it's like, how many of these am I going to buff out? But that was cool because then I got to clean up all my own stuff and whatnot. And another fun thing was if you remember,
I didn't even know that
Blockbuster-
existed, by the way.
Yeah,
I didn't know they buffed DVD. I thought when it was done, it was gone.
That I'm almost positive Blockbuster had this movie gallery did. Where playing in the corners of the stores, there'd be TVs.
I was going to bring that up.
And it would be just the monthly trailer
It'd be a
reel
loop.
of stuff.
That was
It'd be a
awesome.
loop.
It was about an hour and 15-minute loop.
Yep.
And you'd be able to
And
watch all the new shit
You
gonna
would
come out.
you would hear it over and over again.
Yeah, you guys
Working
got
there,
the
though,
shit, but I
I'd
was
hear that
excited.
shit in my dreams,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even want to watch those movies half the time
Yeah.
because of that, you know?
But every once in a while, there'd be like a game trailer that like had some fucking kick-ass song or something. Like I remember
Tony Hawk or some shit.
Yeah, there was some fucking beat 'em up game that had Slipknot. And it was like, I'm listening to Slipknot and fucking Blockbuster.
Hell yeah.
Pulse of the Maggots.
It was Def Jam, wasn't it?
I think it was like the Fight Club game or some stupid shit like that.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, there was a Fight Club game, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Working at Blockbuster, like you had talked about, like thinking like the dudes that worked there like knew everything. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Like they got to watch all the movies and they knew everything. And like when you work at a video store, people assume that.
All
And,
the
like,
time.
They come up to you and they're like, "Hey, what's a good movie?
Yep.
Tell me what movie to rent."
I bet you wish people came up to you and was like, do you know any Dolly Parton movies? You're like, brother, do I got one
Yeah.
for you?
Dude, and it's such a fucking gamble to
Yeah.
like recommend a movie
Yeah.
to somebody who you have no idea who they are. You have no idea what their taste in movies are. And it's like, okay, what kind of movie do you want?
That's the question.
A good
right
one?
there.
Yeah.
A good one? I want a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what you know, like what's your favorite movie or
Yeah,
this and
you
that?
try to,
You're
like,
trying
narrow
to
it
get a little
down.
information from them. So.
And like there was one guy who I recommended this like horror war movie and he watched it and he was like, "That was fucking great. Give me another one."
yeah.
I was like, "Okay, well I watched this one. I thought this was pretty good." And he came back and he was like, "Fuck you." Like he was like really pissed. And I was like, "Dude, you asked me for a recommendation. I
thought
didn't force
Brokeback
you."
Mountain was about cowboys.
Yeah.
Tom.
What the fuck, man? I had a dude throw.
Tom's like, it was.
Yeah.
I had a
Giddy
dude
up.
throw 40-year-old virgin in my face. Like an old man like came in and was like, "What's the number one rental right now?" And I was like, 40-year-old virgin. Like it literally came out that week.
Sure, yeah.
And I was like, "That's our number one rental." He's like, "All right, I'll rent it." He stormed in like 45 minutes later, and he threw that fucking
I masturbated twice.
yeah. He threw that fucking disc at me.
Wow.
And he was like, you peddle this shit. And I was like, "Dude, you asked me what the number one rental
Yep.
is. I gave you that rental. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't, I'm not gonna." And he's like, "Give me my money back." I'm like, "No." Like, that's the gamble that you take.
Get the fuck out of my store right now.
Yeah, you rented this fucking movie. Like, that's not a guarantee that you like it.
You just throw it right back at
Yeah.
him.
Eat this, old man. You old fuck.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I kind of
Take off your fucking Depends and eat your own shit.
Oh man, we'll make a movie right now, motherfucker.
You're probably the 80-year-old virgin, you dick.
Holy shit. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But they were there. You were right though. Like people wanted to know, like, oh, this guy knows. You know, this guy knows. And really, it's like, well, I like what I like, and I'm gonna watch what I'm gonna watch. You're gonna tell me something, and then I'm gonna recommend Mr. and Mrs. Smith to you or
That was a pretty
something.
good
You know what
movie.
I mean? Or like,
I like
just
that movie.
something
You end
like-
up like recommending the most bland,
Yes.
middle of the road movies because it's like,
Cheaper by the dozen.
yeah, here you go.
Yep.
It's not gonna offend you.
Yeah.
But occasionally, like, you would have that person that would come in and kind of be on the same level as you.
So
And they'd,
I got a
like,
question for
start
you guys.
dropping
I-
some info, but
There's a Seinfeld episode where they go into this movie store and Elaine starts falling in love with this guy whose picks of the
Yeah.
week or whatever, or of the month,
Yes.
she's like, "Oh my God, he's perfect." Was that a real thing at like these movie stores you guys worked at? Did you
Yeah.
get like Tom's picks and Josh's
yes,
picks?
yes.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a way to kind of personalize it a little bit.
So what were your guys' picks on those?
In like at Blockbuster, we didn't get to do that for very long. Like they were super corporate, but every once in a while we would get like store picks.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just pick whatever, man. Like I would throw out like The Thing and like just weird Japanese movies and stuff like that, and people would be like, "Wow, I like this guy," and then like the next week you'd be like, "Fuck that guy." It's like it's this weird like it felt like powerful.
Yeah,
like,
there was a responsibility that you had there to.
It's so funny because I can just picture the movies like you said. Yours is gonna be like horror, and then this weird fucking Japanese horror.
Yeah,
and then yours is gonna be like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars.
There was an element of those films.
And the D&D movie, the Dungeons and Dragons movie with the one of the Wayans brothers.
Marlon Wayans. Yeah. Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. He was in it? No, that's tragic.
I also didn't really get to do that movie gallery. It was more when I worked at the mom and pop store. But they gave me a lot of freedom. I ended up just managing that store almost immediately just because. But they let me do things like set up a daily trivia thing where people could come in and answer a trivia question, and I could give them $1 off or a free deep dive rental if they got it right.
Yeah.
Whatever, just like.
That was the coolest thing about like mom and pop stores was like the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want.
100%.
You could create your own genres.
Yeah.
You could create your own sections. Blockbuster, it was like the same sections. You could not, like, the only time that we had different sections were on holidays. So like, okay, here's the Halloween section, and like they let me pick out a bunch of horror movies to put up there. Yep. And like, here's the Christmas, and I'd always put on like Die Hard and Gremlins and shit.
Love it.
But yeah, they like Blockbuster didn't have that. But like mom and pop stores, I remember going in and being like, cool, there's like a samurai film section.
Yes.
And there's like a cyberpunk section. And like there was like cool little tiny sections. And those mom and pop stores would get the weirdest shit.
Oh yeah.
Because they couldn't spend a ton of money on all the new releases. Yep. So they would buy like older stuff. And so like mom and pop stores would have anime that no one else had. And they would have like the weird horror movies that no one had.
So real quick, I just want to segue on that too. I saw one of the weirdest horror movies at the time. I was probably 12 years old. And this is in Effie, Minnesota. It's about 57
people.
Minnesota. 57 people, and I'm related to 56 of them. Yep. So you do the math on the sex up there. It's kind of fucking weird.
Yeah.
But I was with my grandma and grandpa.
57th is the cat.
That cat was, oh boy. That thing was fun. But one of the best parts about going to movie places when I was a kid was going with my grandparents, because I could go and like, they were like, they didn't give a fuck, until you got to the counter. Then they're like, "What are you getting?"
Yeah,
it's like, it's just something stupid.
Don't react, dude. Be cool that I'm checking this out. Don't say anything.
You put 9 to 5 on top.
Always. My grandpa's like, "Ooh, I like that."
Oh, Dolly Parton, eh?
And there was 9.5 weeks underneath it.
Yeah. Like, yeah, baby.
But no, I watched Skeeter. Did you ever watch Skeeter?
The mosquito.
Yep.
Like
in like Arizona or some shit like that.
Yeah, the giant mosquito that killed people.
Like a creature feature.
It was fantastic.
It was a total creature feature.
It was so good.
It'd come and like suck your blood,
but it
would like suck you dry.
I don't know why I
guy that was feeding him
Quaid in that.
Was like, Randy Quaid was probably in it. It was that kind of style.
Okay,
and that was like the best part of movie stores in the 90s was just like the straight to video.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Shitty horror. Like there was
but they're good.
Yeah.
They were good. Yeah.
There was like Carnosaur.
Yes!
Oh, Carnosaur.
Yeah, Carnosaur.
And that's like there was like Jurassic Park and Carnosaur.
Yeah,
you know
Carnosaur
what I mean?
was
that
just like
shitty
it was so gory and bloody. It was like everything you want on top of Jurassic Park. Like Jurassic Park was awesome.
Yeah.
100% awesome. And then here's Carnosaur, which was like all the blood and
the
guts.
little brother.
Don't they fight the Carnosaur with like a big
like a tractor.
Yes,
thing.
like
Yeah.
at the end, it's like a big piece of like
Yeah.
fucking work site equipment or something. Yes,
It's fucking
okay,
great.
yeah.
And then there was a movie that created a phobia for me. Ticks.
Oh yeah,
Never
there
saw
was
that one. I know what you're talking
arachnophobia.
about,
There was
yeah.
ticks and tremors. Those
Yeah.
all came like right around the same time.
Yeah.
So ticks, like I have a lifelong trauma. Like I'm deathly afraid of ticks.
I got a tick infestation down here, so check yourself on your way out.
And like it's because of this stupid movie. And I bought ticks like as an adult because I was like, I gotta fucking conquer this shit.
Face it.
I'm conquering it.
Emily, come down here.
Yeah. And it's got like Seth Green and it's got the dude who plays Carlton on The Fresh Prince.
Oh wow.
Oh, what the
But
fuck?
he doesn't play like
He plays the
stiff
tick?
guy. He plays like from the streets
Oh
gang
my
member.
God.
Wow, what a juxtaposition right there. Just,
Oh my
And there's
god.
like he gets like these and it's got Clint Howard in it too.
yes.
And like these ticks like are giant radioactive like mutated huge ticks and they
Are you saying
like-
tits?
ticks.
I like
It's like
tit.
dicks with a T. That's something you know, right? Dicks?
yeah.
Okay.
Very
It's like dicks.
familiar.
It's
Yeah.
dicks, but with a T instead of a D. And they like fill his body with ticks. Like they all get inside of him, and then he turns into a giant tick. And that scar, like that was like,
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding me?
That can happen.
Turn into a giant tick? What the fuck? This is insane. Dad, why did you rent this? He's like, just sleeping. One thing with movie rental stores was you could rent porno.
Yes.
You could rent porno, and that was like, because kids, we didn't have the internet.
No.
Porno wasn't free.
No.
It was like $90 for a VHS.
I can literally
Oh, yeah.
go on my phone right now in the bathroom while I'm taking a shit, rub one out,
I am-
and you'll never even know. I have
I wouldn't know.
incognito mode. I'm fucking in and out.
I'm watching
Boom.
porn right now.
Yeah. I've masturbated
I am
twice since I've been
masturbating
here.
underneath
Yeah.
furiously.
You guys are way ahead of me.
But yeah, I like there was one time where my dad rented a porno while like he disappeared. I was looking through movies and he
You're
disappeared.
like 6. Daddy.
Yeah, I was like
yeah.
7 or 8 and he disappeared and I was like, where did he go?
I'm willing to risk my child's
Where
life
did
for
he
this
go?
porno.
Yeah. And like I'm like looking through shit and he's like I was like trying to find him to ask him about something and he was gone. And then he shows up and he's got a tape in his hand, but it's not like a normal tape. It's in a clear box. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I remember he wouldn't let me, because I would hold the tapes.
Oh, no.
In the
Those daddies.
passenger seat, I would hold the tapes. And he wouldn't let me hold the tape.
Not this
And
one.
when we got home, he put it on top of the fucking entertainment center where I couldn't reach it, right?
Nice.
And it was
Smart
like,
man.
oh, shit. And I got a fucking chair. And I looked at it and it was like some like
Naked lady.
yeah, it was some like period piece erotica or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? And I remember like confronting my parents. Dad rented a porno.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Shut up. And then
I've
when I
never
turned
seen that movie before in my life.
Tom,
I
you're
don't know.
grounded.
Yeah.
Dude, and then when I turned 18, a friend of mine and I went to home video and we were both 18 and I was like, I'm gonna rent a porno for the first time.
I'm gonna do it.
And we went
You're
to
in the
back-
parking lot. You're like psyching yourself up. You're like,
Dude,
fucking
I was
do
like
this, man.
sweating buckets. I was like, Jesus Christ, oh my God. What's gonna happen? Are they gonna card me? Like, what is
Am
it?
I going to
Did
hell?
you bring your social security card? I think they need that.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely gonna
Am
need
I
that.
going to hell?
Do you have the
Jesus
pink slip for
waits.
your car? They're gonna need to hold that for this.
Yeah.
I don't feel good.
And like I got like we get in there and there's a dude in there. And he like stops. And he like slowly turns and looks at us.
It was your dad.
No, it was like some dude and he was like, "Huh," and he like grabbed something and left like right away. Like you don't want to be
didn't
in the
see my
same
face.
room.
You don't want to be in there. Yeah, that's a one man show back there
yeah.
when you're shopping.
It's like the
behind
shitty
the
curtain
Yeah.
that like you touch it and it's
Yeah.
like buttery. You know, it's like grease.
It's a
You're
weird
like, oh,
velvet
Jesus
with some
Christ.
grease
This
on
like
it.
I remember this side of the road video store because there was like video stores everywhere. There was like a tiny. There was like
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like a shack.
Yep.
Gas stations had fucking
Gas stations had it. SAs
movies. Yep.
had him. And like this place had like a tiny curtain, like a curtain that you would put over like a tiny window. Like it was like the tiniest curtain, so you could just see everything. It was amazing.
Hank, go get me
It
a
was
curtain.
like
We gotta hide the pornos.
Yeah, it was like it was like a saloon door, you know, like those tiny
velvet.
little saloon doors, and you're like, well, I can fucking just there it is, there it is.
One day
That's
that
a
one's
movie.
gonna be mine over there.
But when we went in there, me and my buddy, for the first time to rent a porno, and we're like, what do we rent? Like, this is like too much. There's an entire room of porno, and we've had like zero, like all we've had is like Skinamax
Yeah.
pornos. Like, there's like shitty ass pornos,
What do
and
we
here's
get?
real pornos. And I remember picking up one, and it had a really tall black guy with a huge dick
Yep.
and a really small midget with like a
really
medium
small
sized dick. Like a dick that you'd be like, that's bigger than it should be. And I remember reading it out to my friend because I couldn't stop laughing. It was King Dong and Little Schlong was the name of it. And we were like, they tag team chicks in this. And we ended up renting like the weakest we ended up renting like a softcore porn by accident.
Yeah.
And we are like, we have all these fucking hardcore pornos, and we ended up renting a softcore porn by accident. Because we were like, oh, this looks like it has kind of a story.
Well, at the end, you don't want to look depraved. So
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
don't want to like.
This one looks good,
Keep
I
us interested
guess.
for a little while.
And they had like black bags that you would put the movies in to bring up to the counter so that no one saw.
Oh, wow.
So discreet.
And I vividly remember walking into that room, and it just smelled like bleach.
Oh,
Bleach and
wow.
bologna. That's a cum smell, my friend.
Yeah, it smelled like bleach and bologna, and it was like, and like just like dude sweat.
I think we just named the episode right there. Bleach and bologna right there.
And dude sweat.
Dude
sweat.
sweats.
Like dudes just sweating. Like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah.
Pick something, Dave.
You know what my favorite part is you guys talk about renting porn and like all this cool shit. The first X-rated thing that I rented was Faces of Death. And I was
makes
like
sense. That makes sense.
13. And this woman
Yeah.
at this, I was in Hibbing, Minnesota, and there was this mom pop shithole. It was like JVC Rentals or some shit like that. And they had Faces of Death. They had like all like 8 or however many there were.
Little mom and pop shops.
Dude, they had the
would get that
weirdest
stuff.
fucking shit.
Gold mines.
And it was so weird because
Yeah.
we rented it, and it was like a buddy of mine who's probably a serial killer at this point. He was like, dude, we got to fucking watch this shit. I've seen this before. And I was like, okay. So we get it, bring it back to my house, and we're like down in my basement. We put it in. It's like pitch black, and we're like, what the fuck is this? And it's like tribal guys like shooting an arrow into the neck of a fucking cow and like pulling it out, and the blood's pouring out, and they're collecting it in a bowl, like drinking it. And then it's like a plane crash, and like bodies are falling out of closets during like the news report, and you're just like, what am I watching? And then a guy like falls into the swamp, and an alligator like eats his head off, and you're like, is this real?
I don't remember that one.
Dude, it was so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't know if it was real or not.
Yeah.
Because it's like a guy walking in a graveyard. He's like, these stories are all 100% real. And I'm like, I just don't feel like they are how you're doing that.
The way you're
Like,
framing
the
this.
way you're
Yeah.
just hanging out in a
Yeah.
graveyard.
Yeah.
Like, this can't fucking be real. That alligator one with the DNR, that one just couldn't be real. He's like, look at that, and then just like fell
It's
in,
like a
and they're like,
blow up doll.
We're going to
like,
find
got
that
his
shit.
head.
I want to see
Dude,
that.
it is so bad. The helicopter ones, the women, like, there's a woman who fell from a fucking skyscraper.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
That one was, she like hit the ground, her fat like bellied out,
Like-
and then she landed a little bit and then hit and boom, just blew up. And it's like, oh my God, this shit's gonna scar me for fucking life.
Yeah, man.
Like as a 13-year-old, you're like, this is fucking me up, dude. Like,
Yeah.
how did they let me rent this?
There's a and like so to get back to like
Porn.
made to porn because I just can't stop talking about it. It's my life.
It's my addiction. I go through it.
Yeah. I wish Miles would get into it.
Spend some time with Daddy. Come on.
No, I'm kidding. To get back to like how they had like made for DVD and made for VHS movies.
Yes.
Like they were shitty, but they were quality.
They were
like,
quality. Yeah, they were still good.
They were a cash grab, but like people made those, a lot of those, with like heart and in earnest. Like they wanted to. This is their time.
Yep.
You know, they're gonna make this movie. They don't have a whole lot of money, but they're gonna fucking produce it.
And I think at the distribution level, that's where that was decided if it would be released in theaters versus. Yeah. So it's like the heart is still in that. They're putting everything into those movies. So.
There was so many companies that were like, we need to turn out like videos.
Yeah.
Like we need to fill video stores. People cannot get enough.
New
of this
Line
stuff.
Cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Line
Like all
Cinema
sorts
was
of
just-
full moon video and like yeah, like all this shit. And like they would make these movies and it was like some of them were really good.
Yeah.
And you would find these hidden gems. And nowadays you get these like made for streaming movies and they're just shit.
Yeah, I gotta protest a little bit here because I've found some fucking hidden gems on Netflix where I'm like, I don't remember what the fuck it was. It was this movie that I watched because I think Ben told me to. My old boss, Ben, for some fucking reason, he was a magnet for good, like, independent
He was
movies.
an old prospector digging
Seriously,
out
like,
gold
he'd
out
be
of the
like,
mine.
have you seen this
Yeah.
fucking movie? And I'm like, what movie? He's like, The Razorback Giant. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's a fucking movie made in 2013. And it's and I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, fucking Andre the Giant's in it. And like all this shit. I'm like, what?
He's a
and he's like,
Razorback?
yeah. And you watch it, you're like,
Drinks 500 beers.
wow, dude, it's fucking brutal. There was a one, and I can't remember who the main character was.
Dude, keep talking. I'm gonna go. I gotta piss so
I
bad
see
right
you
now. Do you
bouncing.
see me
It's like-
bouncing? Oh my god.
You might actually know this one, Tom.
Yeah.
It's not fairly old. It's definitely 2000s. But he's like his wife and kid. He goes to jail for something I can't remember. And then while he's in jail, they have to like keep moving him from jails to like the like harder jails. And then it's like concrete, weird like fucking jail. And then like the mafia's in there with him, and he's fighting his way through these jails. And eventually he dies, but his family lives. And they're like outside the jail. And I can't remember what the fuck it was. I want to say it's Jamie Lannister who is in it, but I don't think it's Jamie Lannister.
Huh.
I don't know. I'll
I don't know
find
what
it.
that is.
Yeah, I'll find it. And I'll show it to you. But it's like those weird movies like that where I'm like, what the fuck? The Raid. The Raid is another movie where I'm like, I never heard of it until you told me about it.
Yeah.
I knew Judge Dredd, the new Judge Dredd,
Yeah.
which is basically a copycat of The Raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both phenomenal movies.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but The Raid did it first, and it's so well done. And it's
But that's
it's
not like
movie-
that's not a straight to streaming.
no,
movie.
no,
That
no,
was-
no. But it's definitely a movie I never would have seen.
Yeah.
It's not a movie on the new releases. It wouldn't have been a movie in my perspective. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have seen it.
I think with the movie stores.
Hold on, wait 1 second. Never mind. I was gonna fart, but I can't.
He pooped his pants. He pooped his pants.
I almost shit my pants.
With movie stores being gone, there's like a lack of physical media, and that's something that, like I always read is like, is there going to be the death of physical media with all of these streaming services everywhere? And like,
There will be.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think there will be always a small set of people who will love physical media.
I think there'll
people,
be collectors, but I think eventually it will die out for public.
I mean, it'll be harder
Yeah.
to find like productions and stuff.
Because
like
look at
that.
the new PlayStation. The new PlayStation, they have a physical medium PlayStation
Yeah.
and then a complete digital. You buy it, doesn't even have the fucking disc player.
Xbox,
Like, you know,
did that. Xbox One had that all digital version,
Yeah.
but like, there's always going to be some sort of physical media because there's always going to be a little bit of a demand for it.
yeah, the collectors.
Yeah, there's collectors, but also like, there are movies that are not ever going to be digital. There are games that are not going to be
Agreed.
digital.
Yeah.
Like, rights issues prevent that. And like, at the start of COVID, at start of the pandemic, right? Like people were overloading all of the digital movie services and like
popping servers.
Popping servers.
Hey, baby.
And there were like movies that people thought about that they haven't thought about in forever that are not available digitally.
Yeah. Right.
And so like there was this huge demand on like eBay and Amazon for these movies that you can only find in physical media.
Wow.
And the prices started to go up.
Yeah.
Because like it's just you're not gonna have like digital media is great. Like having access to it right away is
But there's
awesome.
definitely a place for physical media.
There's always going to be a place for physical media because not everything is going to go that route.
I agree with you, Tom. There's always going to be a place for the physical media.
Yeah. But I also think it's going to go away, though. Like, I don't want it to, but I feel like physical media is definitely, besides collectors and shit like that, there will be that, like, memorabilia style.
Yes.
But it's like, I mean, baseball cards are coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, shit's coming back. But it'll be a nostalgia factor.
What about vinyl records? I feel like that's maybe the most...
It's a trade, sell, kind of thing. But there's no new vinyl record. I mean, there's new vinyl records.
There are.
But it's not like... It's not like Apple Music or like... You know what I mean? It's not like Spotify.
There's a community.
Beyonce. How many fucking vinyl records does Beyonce have or Kanye? You know,
Probably
like
all of the records are on.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm saying like
you're out of touch, Robert.
I guess coming from a person who doesn't specifically buy vinyl records and I'm not around it, I don't know anybody besides you and Corey that owns vinyl records. My dad owns old Kiss records and Judas Priest records and shit like that, Metallica. Yeah. But he doesn't go out and, he's actually giving them all to me.
Fuck you. You don't even have a play. You just say you don't give a shit.
I'm going to break them all. I'm going to go to your house and just fucking snap them on your yard. No, actually that's something I wanted to talk to you about a little bit later.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Spoiler alert.
Absolutely. Well, I do feel like it is an apt comparison.
I feel like it's a tragic thing that's going to happen. Not like, oh, it's going to happen. Physical medium's going to go. But I feel like it really is. Like, it sucks. It's in that trajectory. It's just too easy for a stupid American to get access to digital media.
So
that's the problem.
Then let me present this question real quick. In that window of time that you see the end of that being, and now, is there a place for a niche retro video store experience?
There's still one Blockbuster, isn't there?
You opened up your own video store in a city like Minneapolis or St. Paul.
Yeah.
Do you think there's enough people that would want to experience that nostalgia or share that with their kids
just to keep you alive?
I mean, almost like a Patreon type membership where it's like it's $10 a month. You come in here. I still got to charge you for the rentals. We have some of the new stuff, but really our bread and butter is going through the deep dives and that kind of thing. Yeah. Do you think there's got to be
it's so hard
something like that somewhere, right?
Yeah, there has to be.
So there's like, it's like right now there's like the last bastion of video rental stores. Like you said, there's the last Blockbuster, and that's in
like
I think
Alaska
or some shit. Yeah, it's a
I
weird.
think it's in like Oregon actually.
Is it?
Is it? I know they just converted it.
Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but
no, it's somewhere cold. I know that.
Yeah, they did they like have a B&B in there now.
That's
but
what
like
I saw.
you could, it still operates as a Blockbuster, I think.
You could just rent out that area.
Yeah. And there are like mom and pop shops still around, grasping and holding. And there's like big ones that like people flock to.
Sure.
Like I think there's one in LA that like everyone goes to because it's just like, holy shit, that's so cool. I haven't been to one, but I think there is this nostalgia feeling for Blockbuster right now, and like people forget like how they were kind of crappy. I mean, I love it, but
yeah,
they were kind of crappy. They with the late fees and everything.
It was a corporate bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I have a Blockbuster T-shirt that I just bought at Target.
Yeah.
For Christmas, I got Blockbuster the game, which came from Target.
What
you
the
know, like
what the fuck?
Like there's like a board game.
But what happens when we
for
die?
Blockbuster, but like, and then there's like puzzles and all sorts of other things that people are gobbling up because they remember what it was like to go into a rental store and they miss that. There's that nostalgia.
Yes.
There's tons of people talking about it. I think there ultimately is a place for a rental store in the future. I don't know if it's like now or not.
I don't know, because there's just too much. Like Google just came out with their new thing. You know, it's like a fucking thing. It's a USB. You just plug it right in your fucking TV.
That
it's like
is going to be there, but like.
But I think there's this want of like, I mean, we're discussing how much we loved rental stores. There's tons and tons of people who also have that same feeling, who wish they could go to a rental store.
But they have been wishing for, this isn't like rental stores didn't go out yesterday. They went out 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like,
but like,
if it was going to happen, it would have happened.
It as much, there's that time that lapses that makes you miss that. And the final days of those were not the same as the glory days whenever you were trying to recreate that.
And I'm definitely fighting for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not in the corner of like, there's no place for it in our time. I think there definitely is a place for it. I just feel like people, especially COVID, there's going to be no post-COVID. COVID's going to be here for the rest of our lives. Like, it'll be here forever. So it's like there's that group meeting. It'll never be the same. It'll never be the same.
Well, you know,
maybe.
I really wish there is going to be that, like, you know, go in, you know, do this thing, enjoy it with everyone. But I mean, you talk about these mom and pops and stuff like that. Like, I don't see them on Facebook. I don't see them on Instagram. I don't see them on Twitter. I don't see them anywhere. So it's like, they have their cult following, but they're not growing. You know what I mean? They're not like, they're sustained, but they're not this growing business where they can open another store. They can do this more stuff.
I don't think eventually that's the approach, though. I think it's like
it's not gonna,
like
it's not ever
if you don't have growth
mentality.
And you're stagnant, you'll eventually decline, right? Like I feel like
I think if you're it's more about the preservation of what that is. Yeah. Almost call it a museum that you can interact and take stuff home with.
It's not going to be like a huge money making venture, right? Like you wouldn't ever open.
They do it for the love of it.
Yes. Yeah, you wouldn't open it up to like I'm going to build it and it's going to become a franchise and it's going to go across the nation again. That's never going to happen. Yeah. We're past that, long past that. But like the trick is, if you're going to open that store, how do you retain people coming back? How do you have like a constant flow of money coming in?
Yep.
And because you're gonna have people who are gonna be like
you were saying.
That's what I mean. I feel like it'd be a membership thing.
It would have to be a membership thing because like you'd get people who'd be like, wow, cool, a rental store, and they go rent one movie once.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
Yep.
I remember it all. It was great.
That would honestly be me. I'd go in and be like, oh, this is cool. I have a kid. I don't have fucking time to go wander around a fucking.
Oh, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I would. 100%.
I look at that the other way, where I'd be like, I can get the boys out of the house for 45 minutes and let Allie do something.
Yeah, I guess I have a 2-year-old.
Yeah,
once she gets a little older, it'd probably be better.
Yeah. But I've thought a lot about this because I actually, like, one of my dreams is to open up like a rental store, like a video rental store, because I think that would be literally the coolest thing. So I've like spent like 2 years thinking about like, how do I make it viable?
Yeah.
How do I make it like a place that somebody wants to go to? And it ends up being, you can't just have a rental shop. You have to have a hybrid shop. It has to be rental and then selling
something
stuff.
Else,
like you have to have something that like has a constant flow, because not everybody's going to rent movies.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is, like, I used to run trivia, like
Trivia Mafia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to run trivia, and
you were my nemesis.
It's true. As a fun third place prize, I'd go out and buy clearance DVDs of like movies that I thought were cool, and I'd give them out. I can't tell you how many people were like, I don't have a DVD player.
Exactly.
I can't play this. I can't watch this.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's so many people who just don't have the technology to play it.
So we're talking about rental stores. A great segue into something else that's not surviving is arcades. Arcades are retro. Yep. People want to go to them, but they don't. A lot of arcades are failing and falling down.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same medium as rental stores.
Because
it's that nostalgia.
What's
you
going
stand
up,
around for hours and you do pay money.
Yeah, but what's going up in arcades is the bar arcade.
That's what I was about to
That's
say, the bar
different.
arcade.
So
And
if you had a bar rental,
That's the thing is like it's
Something-
a hybrid shop.
Yeah.
They get their money from booze and
Alcohol
rental and stuff.
sales.
yep.
And
Like
then
what's the one on fucking Lake and Lindale?
up down.
That one's great.
Yeah, people
It's
love it
so awesome.
because it's like
Six
it's
pack and a pound. You get a
Yeah.
fucking pound of tokens and a 6-pack of beer for
40,
like
40 tokens and
yeah,
six
for like
tall
20
boys.
bucks or some shit.
25
Like
bucks. Yeah, and like
awesome.
it's cheap to pay or to play the games.
Yeah.
It's like a quarter
Yeah, it's
per
like a token.
Yeah.
and like and then you have beers and you drink and it's very social. You
And
have
you're always
you have
buying more
to like
beer and
have
drinks.
a hybrid thing.
And
if
they
you're
have a
gonna bring-
little restaurant in there.
Yeah, it's true. They have they
They
serve
do have a
pizza. and
small
Yeah.
kitchen, yep.
So yeah, if you did have the rental, but see that's the hard part is in arcade, you're gonna drink and stick around. So you'd have to
Yeah.
find that thing that's like, what are you gonna sell with your
Yeah.
rental? Maybe you don't want to say it too much on camera just in case somebody takes your idea. Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'll hunt you down.
Right.
You know, you have to like. I thought a lot about like tying it into other things, right? Like you have to contact local theaters, local like little theaters, and be like, hey, let's have. I have a video rental store. Let's have a combo night, like where we show a movie in the parking lot.
Yeah,
and like we
sure.
cross promote. Lots of cross like promoting
There was
to get people to like come in and do shit.
There was one thing that we didn't talk about that I forgot to talk about with the movie stores was snacks. There was
Oh, yeah.
never you like that was one of the biggest things with the fucking movie stores is going in and being like,
You got the snacks too.
what snacks am I getting? And remember the popcorn buckets that like the popcorn was at the bottom
Yeah.
and it was unpopped
Yeah.
and you just throw that all in your fucking microwave?
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was super
Well,
fucking
they'd
cool.
stuff that shit with other things too. Sometimes you get other
Yeah,
candy,
yep,
like built
yep.
in at the
And then it was
top,
like
or-
get a
And they get
get a
gift
movie
card
and a
or
couple
something.
They get like
things
movie,
free.
movie size candies, like you
Yeah.
would find at a movie theater,
Yeah,
and like
that's
yeah,
cool.
We're gonna and it was an experience.
Yeah.
You created a night for yourself.
See,
like,
now how do you do that with a rental movie store nowadays?
you? I mean, like
What's
like,
the thing you sell with it?
You'd have to sell an experience, because that's what ultimately people came to movie stores for, movie rental stores. They came for an experience.
Yeah.
They went there. They had their options in front of them. They chose a movie. They chose the snacks.
Yeah.
And like they committed to that experience.
Yeah.
And they went home and they watched that shit right away. Like that was that night.
Yeah.
It's actually an escape room, and you have to select the correct DVD to be able to get
Yeah.
released out of it.
yeah.
To go.
DVDs used to have like hidden special features.
Yes.
They, okay,
Easter
I almost brought
eggs,
that up.
man.
The Easter,
Easter
eggs
eggs.
and them on
Easter
the,
eggs.
You
on
have
the
to find
menus and
them?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, those are super cool.
I mean, it was always like the bottom and then the left. It was like,
Yeah,
it's
there was not a
highlighted.
whole lot of options. You would just hit every direction on the stupid remote.
Eventually, you'd get there.
and
Wait
then-
for the
and then-
cursor to disappear, and maybe you land on
And
something.
it was like something really shitty, like one outtake.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
one. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like
Yeah.
you didn't get like 10 minutes of outtakes where you know, nowadays if you go do DVD and you're like select outtakes and it's like it's just a whole fucking
The whole
real-
movie.
behind the
it's a real-
scenes,
Yeah, it's
another
like
movie of
insane.
behind the scenes. Yeah.
It was like, oh, here's a 30-second clip of somebody going, of Brendan Fraser going, oh, you know?
Nowadays, it's Gary Oldman cussing people out in his Dracula uniform. He's
Yeah.
like, "Fuck you,
Yeah.
I'm Dracula."
Yeah.
Sharon Stone uncrosses her legs the other way.
Just a huge dick.
and there's a
flops up.
cock. Yeah, exactly.
Huge. And it's actually Michael Douglas. His head, like,
Yeah, I mean, you obviously have thought about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think it's, yeah, man. I mean, I'd fight for you. I'd go to it.
I
I'd
love that. I
participate.
never
Yeah.
thought of like the Patreon type.
That's a great
thing.
because
That's a
I mean, think about YouTube.
Even
Like, you're
dudes
getting
like
new
outside,
content.
yeah, you could do like a YouTube channel
Yeah.
to promote it. Get Patreon, like do like live streams of movies and stuff.
Come rent. Come check out our shit. You know, $5 a month. You get fucking
Sure.
I mean,
virtual
if
popcorn.
you offered me for $10 a month, you get access to the collection. You can
I
come
show
in
you my
here,
butthole.
You can browse. You get an 8x10 black and white on my butthole.
My
That was
chocolate
actually a
starfish.
story I told in another episode of the podcast
Yeah.
at the movie gallery I worked with.
You give out 8x10s in your butthole.
That's awesome.
cool.
What age were
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. I underage.
I'm way more interested now.
No, Doug Pitt lived right by, which is Brad Pitt's brother.
Oh, sure.
Lived right by our
The
movie
one that he
gala.
doesn't talk about.
The one he doesn't ever talk about.
Bastard brother.
And I remember him coming into the store one day and just being like, "Oh my god, that's fucking I know that guy." You know, like my dad kind of knew the guy, but I'd never seen him. And it's like, it's not even the guy. It's not even Brad Pitt. It's his brother right there. But being like still like slightly starstruck.
This guy came out of the same vagina.
Yeah,
as Brad.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like
He sucked on the same
resemblance. I'm gonna pull up a picture of him. There's a resemblance. And looking over, and there was like this like pop cooler that divided the two lines, you know, where you could like get your sodas or your like 2 liters out.
There's a cutout of Brad Pitt and the Mexican.
You're almost dead on. We sold these like plated photos. It would be like a plaque with like a stars, 8x10 in it or whatever, and then like Brad Pitt and their like fake autograph on it. Right?
Sure.
It'd be like $20 or something.
I suppose he's from there, so that's why.
Well, people love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that was
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, but there were like all sorts of them right there, and I'm just
okay.
Just kind of like having this
Yeah,
moment. Yeah, exactly.
That guy?
Doug's like, just give me my fucking copy of the Critters. I gotta go home.
Doug Pitt.
Critters 2, the main course.
I want to watch Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, he's obviously just a
All right,
way
I'll look
less
up Doug
attractive
Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
When I worked at Blockbuster, you'd work, a full 8 hours behind the thing, and you go like restock and stuff.
Yep.
You get like a break because it was Blockbuster and
30 minutes probably.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes, and like you could go to the bathroom, but like I would, if I ever had to fart, I would walk into the kids section and just like let loose, and no one ever knew. Because it would be like
these fucking smelly kids
the
running around.
the kids section always smelled like farts.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You could go in there and,
And it wasn't just my farts. It was like kids' farts.
Oh yeah, and there were always things you could guarantee were on the floor. There would be like 4 Cheerios.
Yeah.
There'd be like a few Legos and a McDonald's toy.
Yeah.
Like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
There'd be just opened. It
There'd
was
be
clean
like
in here.
3 like half-eaten gummy bears
Yeah.
that like
And a
were
boy
just
named
squished.
Ronnie.
Yeah. Just
Hey, you see my mom?
yeah.
Yeah, she's in the pornos, kid.
Mommy.
Oh, you got 9 to 5. I see there.
Dude, I don't mean to like interrupt here, but like Brad Pitt's brother, Doug Pitt, looks like fucking Zach Braff.
He looks a lot like Zach Braff.
You have your phone? You should
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
look
yeah.
at this.
I'll
Look
look
at fucking Brad Pitt. His brother Doug Pitt.
He does.
Looks
he
like
looks like
fucking
an older
Braff.
Zach Braff.
It looks like Zach Braff's brother more than Brad Pitt's brother. It's insane.
Oh man, his wife looks like Carol
Yeah, he does look
Baskins or
like
some
Zach
shit.
Braff.
He looks just like, oh my god, yeah, his wife does look like a
His wife
skinny-
is Carol Baskins.
His wife looks like a skinny Carol Baskins.
crazy.
Weird.
Yeah, I fucking rented that dude DVDs. No big deal.
Oh man, Angelina Jolie looks like a fucking skeleton. Ugh.
Are you looking at that side by side? or
Yes,
something?
yeah.
That was
Ugh.
bizarre.
Her tits look like fucking triple D's, and then she looks like a skeleton.
She's
She looks
falling
like
over.
she looks like a literal Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, that is fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Dude, I was talking to Kat the other day, and I was talking about how Mitch McConnell looks like Senator Kelly from X-Men. Do you remember when he's like liquefying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, he looks like the dude from X-Men.
when they put the X gene in him.
Yeah, I gave him the mutant gene.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so fucking weird looking.
Dude, there is a photo of Zach Braff right here,
Yeah.
and then Doug Pitt in the middle.
Can't
And on
tell.
the right side, it's Brad Pitt. It's like this perfect transformation complete. Serious. And
It's like the What If babies.
Yes,
Oh, I see the
100%.
transformation complete.
Yeah.
Is that it?
And then I found another one of Doug Pitt hanging out with Lauryn Hill from the Fugees for some reason.
Oh boy.
Where'd they get that picture
They're
taken?
besties.
That's fucked
Who
up.
knew?
That's fucked
Who
up.
knew?
I didn't know we'd go that far tonight.
Man.
Well,
I got one last thing I want to say about video stores.
yeah,
And-
because then we gotta hop on to some other stuff. We want to talk a little bit about something.
Okay.
Okay, so did you guys have family video too? Was that a thing? that
Family
was
video
around?
was a thing, yeah.
Okay. They were growing while other video stores were kind of falling off. They were sort of taking the place. And I went and applied at one after Buster's was shutting down.
Oh, Buster's Block.
Buster's blocked by Josh. And I went in and like I feel like I nailed the initial interview. It's like, yeah, no shit. I've been fucking working at a video store.
You know, movies, kid.
Yeah, that's it, right? So I'm like, cool. I can go in there and like, you know, what kind of questions are they gonna ask me in this like final interview here? You know, like if someone wants to watch this, what do you suggest to them? That kind of thing. I know enough, right? I go in there. They give me a fucking SAT test. I swear to God, it's like 7 sections. It's like spelling. There's like Sudoku puzzles. There's fucking long division on it. They set you down in the middle of the store. Like everything's going on around you. And you're like, all right, you have 4 minutes to complete each section and just get as much done as you can. We'll see you in 20 minutes. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What the
You're like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Excuse me. I'd like to just make some suggestions, please. I was so angry when I left that movie gallery. And I'll tell you what, let me ask you guys both this. Can you spell bookkeeping?
BOOK space KEEPING.
Tom?
Well, the same.
Same way? There's no space. And when the guy was like,
is it 1K or 2Ks?
It's one fucking word.
But 2Ks?
Yeah. BOOKKEEPING.
I don't know. I don't believe
And
it.
I remember feeling so slighted.
Yeah.
Because the guy's like, he's like, okay, well, it looks like you got some of this done, asshole. and looks and hones in on bookkeeping. And he's like, oh, bookkeeping, huh?
Jerk.
Yeah. And I was like, well, what the fuck does that mean? You know?
Yeah.
And so I went and I immediately left and I looked up bookkeeping because I put a hyphen in it.
I would do that. I would,
like,
as long as there's a
bookkeeping,
space between book and keeping
Passable.
out there what's in there.
Passable.
Yeah.
If I'm on a Word document, it's going to auto-correct it or let me know. That's all right?
I gotta look this up.
Look it up, bookkeeping, dude. And it stuck with me and it burned me so bad. But I could not believe the filter that they were putting on for me to get. You're looking it up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That
wow,
hurts.
that looks weird as shit, dude.
That's such a weird word.
Blockbuster had like computers in every Blockbuster where you could apply, and you had to take it. Took 30 minutes to take the test.
I kind of
What the
remember.
fuck,
wouldn't they
man?
Be like
It's not rocket
right
science
when you
here.
walk in the first set
Yeah.
of doors, there'd be like a computer station.
There'd be like
right
a little
there.
computer station.
I feel
with
like
a
it's
seat.
like a fucking fast food restaurant, but instead of selling fast food, you're selling movies, right?
And, like,
So it's
I
like,
had a friend who was just into movies
there's
as
your
me,
fucking idea.
and
Drive-through movies.
like I had a friend who was just into movies as I was, and like had the same amount of knowledge as I do, and he didn't pass the test.
You're like jackass.
I was like, you goddamn asshole! I'm trying to
Idiot.
get you the job.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's insane.
Here,
I did
kid.
see something
Here's
later
your-
on though.
Here's your 9 to 5. Take that and get
Yeah.
home.
So I saw
Here's your
something.
complimentary 9 to 5. Dolly Parton, Louis Tomlin.
We're getting a poster of that right here. That's my new fucking favorite movie now. I don't care about any other movie ever.
It's a good movie.
That's a good movie. And I kind of remember the scene where she's like walking down the street, like circling the newspaper, like looking for jobs, right?
I think so. Oh, well, it ends up being like their boss is an asshole, and then they kidnap their boss and like torture their boss. It was like
death?
Dabney something. And like, it's like a comedy. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay.
They're working 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Torturing 9 to 5. Whoa. Woo. Cool. Well, man, that was fun.
That was
really
a
fun.
fucking
Yeah. Going
awesome
down that.
trip down memory lane. I'd like to get back to one. Well, you got to come back because we got to talk about this whole fucking movie rental nowadays.
Sure.
I love the idea and I want to debate some more about that. I think we can have some fun with that.
Cool. So,
All right, Tom. So,
Okay.
what do you got to say at the end here?
Oh, well, thanks for having me. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
I've had like a total blast talking about shit with you guys.
Tell us how much fun you had. Have you had so much fun?
I had more fun than watching The Dark Knight.
Yay! We did it. Yay!
All right. Well,
Cool.
Josh, this is Brothers in Arms, and we are saying farewell.
Yeah. If you made it this far with us, we really appreciate it. Like we did at the beginning, we're gonna mention it now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.